This is Malcolm Barrett.
And this is Julianne Emery.
And this is The Word.
All hail the Grail.
Te conozco muy bien, sospechosa situación tras una falsa información. Pasos detrás de mí, personas, avenidas, museos, galerías en la noche. Te conozco muy bien, dibujos secretos en un calidoscopio. Voces dentro de mí, hablamos de nosotros, hablamos de nosotros. Rumores sobre rumores, son solo palabras. Hablamos de nosotros, hablamos de nosotros. Rumores sobre rumores.
I'm here to tell you that your whole life can change in a moment. And this is that moment. And this is the Word.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to The Word, the Unofficial PREACHER Podcast. I'm your co-host, Steve.
What's happening, everybody? Got your boy Dan in the driver's seat. No, that's right. We're in Europe today. Actually, I'm not in the driver's seat. I'm actually in the passenger seat. So I'm going to go ahead and let Steve drive this one. Because we're world travelers.
Wow.
We're fancy pants. It's the kind of shit we do. We fucks with them celebrities is what I'm getting at. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Word. How you guys doing?
See, Dan's a superstar now.
I'm just playing.
All of a sudden, his brother's a superstar, man. This guy, but we already talked about that. But man, oh man, what a beautiful day. How was your day today? I heard you had to do some runs and all this stuff. How was your day, brother?
You know, I feel like Will Ferrell talking about when he was Hank the Tank, because I got to go to I bought some work clothes and I did some grocery shopping, sir. And I put the show together. So it's a fairly productive day. Just not the most cool day. You know what I mean?
This day, let me tell you something. What is the temperature in Fresno right now?
Dude, we're in Europe. Why would I even care about that?
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm sure.
You know, but if I had to look, I don't know, I'd guess it's probably in the 80s, something like that.
I would imagine it's 432 degrees the way it's feeling right now. About 432.
You just feel the heat radiating off the town is what you're saying.
Oh, dude.
Haha, guys, I fooled you. We're not in Europe. I'm just fucking with you.
So we know it's 432 degrees. For sure. I was at the mall and I walked outside and I said, but like, why though? Like, what's going on? I think we're being eradicated. Fresno's being eradicated.
They're just trying to cook us out.
There's no question. The universe is being like, what would happen if we just boil a city? I don't know. Let's try it. That's what's happening.
That sounds like a great idea, Mike. Let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go. So yes, man. So before we get into this, I want to ask you something. Before we even dig into this, the contact information.
Ask away.
I want to ask, Dan, do you feel different having been face to face with Grail members?
I wasn't face to face with them very long, actually. But I did feel that presence, man. I felt the very powerful, holy vibe they give. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I don't trust you now. You've been with the Grail a little bit too long.
I'm just saying, I fucks with the Grail. So you can choose to trust me or not. But, you know, it is what it is now, Steve. You're going to have to choose a path.
Look, dude, I'm going to ask you something.
What's up?
Were you okay. I know we normally do this after the contact information, but I want to know something.
What's up?
Did you like tonight's episode?
I did. It was different. And I'll be honest with you, when I first watched it, I liked it, but I didn't think that I did. I watched it, let's just say 2.5 times. And the first time that old comic thing kicked into me because, you know, the show has been going at a certain pace and following a certain story. And anytime they deviate, it's just that old thing that I can't, it's like a reflex. And I was like, wait, this isn't accurate. This isn't how it's supposed to be, you know. But then I slept on it and watched it again. And yeah, I actually liked this episode. It was good. How about you?
This episode is my second favorite of the season.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know if I'd go that far. And I will tell you this. Even though I still think that the writing was the strongest in that one episode that we both liked, I don't think that's my favorite. I haven't quite figured out which one is. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I reserve the right to change my mind as an American, sir.
I mean, I see that, but for me, watching this episode from the beginning to the end, I was invested because
it was crazy.
Did something that I needed in the beginning, and I was like, "Oh, we're on the top of the world now because one thing just happened. We are perfectly fine." And so it just went higher from there. And so, yes, this is my second favorite episode of the season. And again, this episode is better than anything they've ever done in previous seasons. This one episode, easily.
Good for you, man.
They're running on a clip that's just... I mean, let me ask you that. Is there any episode this season that's not as good as every episode in the previous seasons?
I'll go one step further.
Oh, wow.
And say that every episode... Hold on. Let me just think about that really fast.
Yeah, bro.
Because that's a bold statement, and I don't want
to a bold
have to correct myself. I'm not going to really go that hard with it because I don't want to think about every episode in the last 3 seasons. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm going out on a limb, and I will say that I think that every episode in season 3 is better than any episode in seasons 1 or 2. Sometimes the stories are like, oh, that was a cool story. But I just think as far as quality goes, writing goes, acting goes, everything, season 3 has it.
Agreed.
Hands down.
Agreed. Agreed.
Number one with a bullet, sir.
With a bullet. The worst episode this season is better than the best episodes of the other seasons.
Correct. My thoughts. Precisely.
Done. And I know all of you have thoughts too. But before you do that, you're going to have to write us. And in order to write us, you're going to have to hear this wonderful superstar all of a sudden. Are you still able to do contact information, or are you've outgrown that?
If I can guess. Whatever. Oh, by the way, Steve, take your earphones off for just a quick second, man. I think you got something on the inside of the clamshell.
Done deal.
Let's give him a second, guys. All right, check it out. I just want to extend a little something to you listeners out there because, I have, in fact, quote unquote, stepped up my game just a little bit. So this is my offer to you. I'm actually looking for a new co-host. Not for this season, because we've only got one left. And it really shouldn't be. Like, I don't want to hurt his feelings. You guys are going to give me, like, at least a good 10 months before I even have to really think about this. However, I am accepting resumes now. So if you're looking for a new co-host, I don't really... He's kind of like Pro Wings. And I want Nike. You know what I'm saying? So, guys, just put it out there, okay? So, hold on. Here it comes. I got it. Let me just...
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm back.
My brother, what is happening, man?
What's going on, man? I was just thinking, I was like, man, I don't know what I'd do without doing this show. I was just saying, I was like, man, like without this show, I would be pretty depressed, you know? And it just feels good to know that I'm here with a brother that, you know, even though he does these awesome interviews, he finds me irreplaceable. That's something you don't find nowadays. And so when I had the earphones, I was like, wow, you know, without this show, I don't know what I'd be. But anyway, how's everything going, man?
Well, that's what I wanted, dude. I wanted you to just, while you were, you know, taking them off for just a second. Plus, you know, did you find something in the can of the headphone? Was there something
No, they're
there?
fine.
That's
no,
odd.
It's perfect.
That's odd. That is queer.
It is strange.
It's very strange. But what's weird is that I'm
one person that still says queer.
That's not true.
You're the only person.
Move to Boston. Move to Boston, man. You're so queer.
Yeah. But
I don't think that was a Bostonian accent.
Ever said that's queer? Yeah, you're the one.
Okay, clutch my pearls.
This dude be coming up. Oh my goodness! By Jove! I'm like, really? We do by Jove still?
I'm gonna have to pull one out that you did last season. Now, people say this. I know this, but it was something that I hadn't really heard in the context you were talking about it. So it struck me funny, and I wish I could remember. But you said Tulip exercises her feminine wilds.
Did I say that?
I'm like, oh, for real, G. Mm-hmm.
Did I say that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over here real quick and just do something cool. Feminine wilds. So you stay over there with your feminine wilds.
If we're gonna talk about feminine wilds, this dude,
they are being flexed up and down this season.
Bruh. I mean,
can I ask you a question?
Number one, yes.
Do you find Ruth Negga attractive? I'm just kidding. I know the answer. I got you, Steve.
I do. I kind of find her. She's aight.
No,
she's banging. She's incredible. I mean, dude, this was her episode, by the way. This was her episode, but when I saw who directed it, I was like, oh, snap. When I saw Kevin Hooks' name, I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Dude, I literally looked for that, and I don't have it on the, I didn't see it on the credits part. So who is it again?
Yeah, it's Kevin Hooks.
And can you tell me a little bit of his background?
Well, let me I'll give you some of the movies he's done. He's a brother. That's why I knew I've seen some of his movies. I was like, Kevin Hooks. And you know what's sad? I was like, wait a minute. That's not that Kevin Hooks. I should have just been like, oh yeah, it is Kevin Hooks. But I was thinking he did, let's see here. Kevin Hooks. I believe he did Passenger 57.
Oh yeah? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Guess what?
And you like Passenger 57.
I have not seen it. He's a Prison Break guy. No, I have. Wait, hold on. Is Passenger 57? That's not Denzel, is it? No, I'm thinking Flight. I'm thinking Flight.
Yeah, we all look alike. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's the thing, Steve.
Yeah.
Hold on. Take off your headphones again. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. Oh, he's done.
You see, guys, this is what I'm talking about.
He's done Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's done one Punisher.
That's enough, really, isn't it, though?
Supernatural.
Hey.
Oh, boom.
I'm sorry. I'm such a dick with these stupid... Now that you can hear it, I really do feel like that Morning Zoo guy, and I got to stop doing that shit. But I love it.
Soul Food. Where's the movies, though? Yeah, Passenger 57. That's what I was thinking. Okay, yeah. Passenger 57. I think that's where I remember his name from. Because right when I saw Kevin Hooks, I was like, oh, my brother. And Julianne put something out for him, too.
Passenger 57. It's driving me crazy. I can't think of who that is. I mean, what's that? No, Wesley Snipes. Now I see where you're getting, sir, with your we all look alike thing.
You already know.
I didn't know. I remember the name. I really didn't.
Kind of did.
Really? You really think I'm that way?
Oh, he did 2 Lost. That's unfortunate. Lost was so bad. It was such a bad show.
You didn't like it? Even the first, 2 seasons?
Oh, can I be honest with you? I saw the first episode and I knew it was going to suck.
I would strongly disagree with you up to a point. I loved it. I was locked the fuck in, and for at least it completely fell off. Don't get me wrong, but I think it was the first. I noticed trouble at the end of season 2. Yeah,
but that's a problem then.
Well, clearly,
I believe that if you're just writing episode to episode, I don't know, and you don't know, you have no answers. You're just writing random crap. I just don't know. I think it takes a more talented. The producers have to be. It takes a talented producer to be like, no, we're going to lock all these things together. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to just write random goodness that doesn't have to connect at all. But those people that write shows that have an arc that actually start and end, that's harder.
I'm totally taking everything you're saying into account. And I totally feel what you're saying, right? And we do this all the time. But isn't it preposterous that we're just 2 guys that sit and do a show, and it's it could be anything. You'd be like, hey, that show that J.J. Abrams produced that millions of people loved and it lasted for 5 years? Yeah, kind of whack. You know what I mean? We do it. We both do that. We both do that all the time. It's just funny that we express our opinions that way.
But they rely on our opinions in order to be successful. That's a weird thing, too. They can't be successful with... Yeah. Oh, is that your pooch?
Yeah, hold up a sec.
Adorbs.
Okay, I've killed it. All right, we're good to go.
Oh, well, that's fair. See, the grell's already in you. Well, before we go further...
Wow, I didn't even notice that reflex of mine, too. That's really weird.
It's amazing. How do they get in touch with you to tell the ASPCA on you? How do they get in contact?
I'm not giving you my personal information, but I will give you some of the show information. And ladies and gentlemen, let's do that just right now.
Here comes.
Yeah. What's happening, everybody? This is Dan from... Come on, Steve, sing along.
Oh my goodness.
What's happening, everybody? This is Dan from the Word, the Unofficial PREACHER Podcast. Let me turn this shit down a little bit here. I'm still getting used to the mixer. You guys want to get a hold of us? I recommend that you do. We've got 2 shows left, including this one. Hit us up at askthewordpodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter during the off season. Let us know you still care about us at Word_podcast. That's where you find us. Hit me up at DanQPublic on Twitter, and my buddy over there, Steve, Mr. Negative over there with his doesn't like Lost at SE_Hudson Music. You can find all this wonderful information at our website, which goes by the title of, or the URL, I should say, of www.heroesofnoise.com. It's the good stuff. Go check it out. You can hit us up with a voicemail from the website. You can listen to our shows. You can find Heroes of Noise, our other podcast. You can even, hint, hint, leave some reviews for us. So please go to your favorite podcast outlet and leave us a review. Tell them how much you love Dan and Steve. We would do it for you. It's true. That's enough for me right now. Steve, back to you.
So if you did leave a voicemail or leave an email, you would either hear, sound, or read like this. Do we have an email, sir?
You bet your ass we do, Hudson. I'm just stalling because I forgot to pull it up. Here we go. All right, so this one. Okay. You got jokes now.
No,
you got jokes.
Joking.
I worked this hard for the man to hear these things. And now he's capping on me. He's got me on that. You got me on that morning zoo mentality now. Like I really do feel like I'm, hey, waka waka, how did a cow get in the kitchen?
I think it's funny.
It's just weird because it's been there the whole time, but now that you can finally hear it, it's just it does something different to the show, and I actually like that.
I like it.
I don't know if you do. I really don't.
I think you're getting it out your system.
In other words, just let him push his buttons and he'll stop eventually.
Of course, yeah. Let him push his buttons away. Yeah. I think it's adorable.
This is season 3, homie. You're so fucked if you're just finding that out now.
I know. By season 7, you're going to be like,
hey, Steve, let's do some improv. Here we go. We're at an airport. Go.
Yeah. And by season 7, I'll be like, what happened? How did we get here?
You see how ungrateful he is, guys? I try really hard. Do you see?
No, you try harder than hard. Like, you work on this show 20 hours a week, at least.
What do you think? I'm actually curious now. What do you guys think? It doesn't really matter because we got one show left, but humor me. Too many sound effects? Let me know. Steve's hurt my feelings, dude.
Don't do that. Do you, Dan?
No, dude.
Oh, my God.
You made me.
You gave him a soundboard. You see what y'all did? You gave him a soundboard, and this is what happened.
I was just playing, dude. I'm sorry.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yesterday, I'll tell you a little something that happened. Nothing really happened, but we were doing the interview with Julianne Emery and Malcolm Barrett, and something came up where we were kind of like talking like it was I asked her a question, and Malcolm made a joke that it was something like a game show. The way I asked him the question, right? So I hit him with when she answered the question, they laughed and everything. And then she said something else that was kind of cool. And it was I agreed with what she said. So I hit it again. And I'm like, fuck, don't do it. Like, just fight the fucking urge to hit this button again. And she said one more thing. And I hit the button one more time.
Oh, but
and I said, okay. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I am so sorry to interrupt you. Like, I don't think I cut that out. I only really cut things out to kind of like just shorten the thing.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Because we would stop for a second or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was really loose, which was super cool that way. But enough about this. Let's go.
I thought you were going to hit another. I was like, here comes another sound effect.
What? No, I'm done now. I'm not giving you any more.
I think, you know what's funny? I think it's becoming a Pavlov dog thing.
You'll get nothing, sir. What do you mean?
I think it's got to.
I'm waiting for you to do your jokes.
When you have an emotion, there has to be a corresponding sound effect. I'm happy. We're like, oh, that was hilarious.
You would not believe. You're hurting I'm laughing, but you've hurt my feelings. I'm a man with feelings.
I'm going to get a freaking soundboard, G.
Do it. Get one. It's just going to be a battle of noises. That's all it's going to be. That will be, welcome to Heroes of Noise. Now let's make some noise. And we just battle back and forth.
Mine is going to be a bunch of like Jay-Z, GZA, Tupac, and Biggie sound effects. He's going to be like, okay, well, we know where that one came from.
I'm going to get one of Steve Martin going, like it. I love it. All right. I'm being rude to our listener who's taken the time, Steve, to send in this email. So let me just first start off by saying Kate. And you say Katie is fine and not to worry about it. I am sorry for Steve's behavior today. Please, let me go ahead. Sorry.
Wah, wah.
What? At one point, we're going to... Oh, really? You're going to... Okay. Oh, Hudson, what am I going to do with you?
I got my soundboard, too. An internal one, friend.
I got a soundboard for you right now. I'm about to turn around and let you hear what sound it makes. I won't call you Steve anymore. I'll just call you... All right.
That is funny.
Speaking of, there was something funky on this episode with, and we'll talk about that in just a small moment.
First time ever on TV.
Well, on like regular cable TV. And I don't even know if that's true.
No, they've never probably done it on, they haven't shown it on cable TV. When? That close?
That was pretty close. I think that that was pretty damn close. You could count the wrinkles. You know what I mean?
Yes, G. There has not been that close.
And, I hit pause and it's actually 56 wrinkles. I'm just letting you know.
Is there really?
No, I'm
Interesting.
Kidding. Just kidding. Because that would be gross and I would not do that. I'm too busy making sound effects, buddy, right? Remember that?
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
All right, let's get back to it. Guys, we do have an email for you, and this one comes from the lovely Kate. Now, this is her second time writing in, and she actually wrote in last week. This is the only email that we're going to read today. It's the only voicemail that we're not giving a voicemail today, and there is a reason why. Because as you guys know, I have been on what I'd like to consider vacation, but it was actually surgical leave. I am now going back to work. So to make this show not miss a beat, we have to watch the show ahead of time. So we have already seen the show. You guys, I could have just said nothing, but really it all just comes to the fact that if you're sending in emails, do me a favor. If you send them in and you want to send something to the show, and I would love that, by the way, since it's going to be the last one that we do for a while coming next week, just send them early. Send them whatever you want. Send them in. It'll be a hoot. But anyway, I just want to let you guys know that that's why we're only reading this one today. Okay? So we good with that, Steve? Are you all right? Is there anything else?
Yep.
You want to make fun of my sound effects before I continue?
No, I love them.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, love. Love's a strange word, isn't it? Hey, guys. Wow. It was super cool to hear you read my email, and even cooler that my opinion has swayed Steve a little. And believe me, that's very hard to do. You don't know the half. Trust me. I should clarify my stoic comment, though. I just meant the way he doesn't seem to flinch, or meaning Jesse, I believe, seem to flinch or show emotion around Grandma, because until she said around Grandma, I really did think she was talking about you for just a second. I just want to say that because
I am stoic.
You don't flinch, you're stoic, and you don't show emotion.
Yes, I don't. I do not.
Around Grandma, because you guys are definitely right. The boy is conditioned. Well, thank you for that. I like being right every now and then, right? It's like that.
Yeah, she said both of us were right.
Well, a broken clock, brother, right? Right, yes, twice a day.
Totally.
I will also agree. Let me get one more in too, since I'm using Old Saints today. Two in a bird in the hand, folks, is worth what is it? Two in the bush.
I knew you were not going to know the second half of that.
And that says something about me too. It means that I'm not some old fart, even though I am.
You aren't.
I apologize, Kate. I'm all over the place right now. Just wait till I start breaking shit down. I will also agree that this episode was the least strong of the season. But still an entertaining and well-done entry. I fully enjoyed Jody in every scene, which was nice because he hasn't been able to shine much since the first episode. I loved Red-Eyed Jessie. I love Grandma and Satan. She loves everything, Steve. I love Grandma and Satan, and as big of a change as it is, I loved Hoover becoming a vampire, as did we. I think, right? You did too, right?
Yes.
Or were you like, not so much?
No, I did like it. I just wish I could have clipped out. I wish she sent a voicemail so I could clip out her loving Satan and send it to her church.
Wow.
I love Grandma. I love Satan. The end. Signed, Kate. This is
Signed, Kate.
Parishioner.
Age 9. by Kate M. Age 9. You got to start them early.
I think, Kate, the unfortunate thing is, for me, oh man, I'm about to go over the top. No, should I?
Do it, Steve. Go over the top. Take it to the limit.
No one has been as entertaining for me as Satan has in his few scenes.
Just knocking it out of the park every time the man's on screen.
He does the most and the thing is, it's the writing. They write for him, but I don't know. I think it's also when you put all those prosthetics on and just say that they're like, okay, here are the lines. When you see yourself in those prosthetics, you're going to do that. Since they turned him into that, he was a big personality. I think he's been so entertaining, and he hasn't had anyone except for, I guess the most he's gone, face to face with was Buckley and the Saint. Grandma and the Saint were the only two that he really went, had time, we're having a conversation.
Yeah, some FaceTime.
The Saint didn't really have conversation. He just told him what was going to happen. Buck, Grandma, they actually had a conversation, and he still was just the scene stiller. So, Kate, I agree. Satan was just, that dude is a freaking star. He's a star of his own show. There's no question. If they start season 1, they could do it, dude, and I'd watch.
Okay, Mephistopheles and Caton, you freaking Satan worshippers. Can I move along? So,
is that a Satan worshiper? Is Mephistopheles a Satan worshiper?
Isn't it? I don't know. It just sounded good.
I don't know. Oh, okay. I liked Mephistopheles, though.
That's what your new name is to me, buddy.
Please. I like Dan. I thought about it today, and I think Dan Ram is your new one.
No, please don't call me that. Let's think of something else, shall we?
Have you heard that before?
I don't want to be known as Dan Ram.
That's so cool.
No, it's not when your name's Dan.
Because it's like Daniel Ramirez.
Yeah, I know.
Dan Ram.
I know it is.
Get it now?
Oh, it's Daniel Ramirez is what your short name.
Yes!
Oh, okay, then it's just fine. Never mind, Steve.
Okay,
I take it all back.
Good.
I take it all back.
Cool.
Oh.
Dan Ram.
Oh, Mephistopheles. I know. It just makes sense for the show. It was either kill him or turn him in Malcolm. Hold on, I'm sorry, guys. I messed up. I was reading the wrong line. It says, it was either kill him or turn him. And Malcolm Barrett is just so damn good that I prefer him to stay at least a little while longer. Again, totally agree with that. And I think that they did, in fact, find a way to do that. I love. Yeah. We'll talk about it in this episode.
Oh, Dan is not going to like this.
I know.
I knew when they saw him during the daytime, I was like, here we go.
Oh, hold on. It says, I'm sorry, Dan, but I also got to agree with Steve. Oh, what happened to the email, Steve? It disappeared. Sorry, Kate. I can't read the rest of the email.
It must be. I have it here. Don't trip.
Curses.
Don't trip.
I'll read it. But I also got to agree with Steve. I'm going to say that one more time just so because it makes him feel good. But I also got to agree with Steve on the Vamps versus Sunlight debate. You know what?
I love Kate.
Kate and Johnny Bucks both disagreed with me on this one. So you two are both banned from the show. I just want to let you know. But it's been fun. All right? I know I've known you a long time, Johnny, but you got to go.
I love Kate. Kate's dope.
I'm just messing with you, Kate. Direct sunlight is for sure deadly, but I think a little sun isn't going to hurt anyone. You ever seen that movie Powder? Mm-hmm. That said,
Dang.
Be like Cassidy, y'all, and wear your SPF. I do. I like a good 45 SPF, Steve, personally. I don't know what you use.
Well, we don't have to use anything.
What you mean we?
Hey.
Are you the Borg?
The blackity black, the black. Here we go.
He was trying to entrap me into something, and it almost worked. Anyway, I'm gonna move along. Damn, Steve.
Go ahead, dude. Do it. I know. Just go. Nope, I promise. I won't
get
say
nothing, and you'll like it. What an asshole he is. Either he's the asshole, I'm an asshole, we're both assholes, and we're just being assholes to each other. I think that's probably the more correct way.
This is the best. This soundboard is actually turning out to be a great thing.
Yeah, for you.
So
you can make fun of me.
It's hilarious. Because I know you can't, right now it's probably like, dang, I can still hit it. I'm black. Blackity black to black.
I'm trying, man. Stop it, because my hands move. Oh, what the fuck? No, I'm not going to do it. Never mind.
I thought you were doing it.
You want me to do it, but it ain't happening.
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you know you want it. All right. I'm so sorry, Kate. I'm not really butchering the letter this time around, but we're just stopping so much, and I apologize. But it's
the thing is, Kate, you're saying a lot of interesting things, and once you say interesting things, we have to go on a tangent.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, particularly when you're talking about Steve. But you know what? Yes. I will say this. I've finally just let go of the whole sunlight thing. Whatever. Throw his ass out into the sun. I don't give a shit. It's fine. But I do see Steve does make a good point. I should know a little bit more about rays. I don't study UV rays, but I'm in them all the time, right? Aren't we all? So, guys, you win, okay? Gilgan can you shine a light on him, throw him in the fire. I don't give a shit what you do. Light is fine. It's great.
Not direct sun.
Direct sun. Just throw him right in that too, Steve. I don't care anymore.
Damn. It looks like it might happen.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that certainly. Okay. Yes. To be fair to Kate, I'm gonna go ahead and read this one through. I'm sorry. I also want to take a moment and agree with Lindsay. Even Lindsay's getting agreed with on here, and I'm not. Dude, I don't know. Hold on. I got to press out my phone. The typing, the font is so small, I'm literally struggling to read it. So hold on.
Oh, you got to put it on the iPad or on the computer?
Yeah, the iPad would work. Get me away from them damn sounds, I'll tell you that. Let's see. Hurt my feelings, man.
That's funny, dude. Right. That is hilarious.
There she is. Okay.
Did it make it easier for to read?
Yeah, for the old man, I can read it now.
Will you stop it?
No, I'm like dead serious, guys. I'm blind as a bat, and I'm getting old, and I was having trouble reading this, so I actually had to like get something where I can like my iPad, so I can magnify it a little.
Only
bit.
reading though, right?
Yeah, just for reading, and it's a good thing I don't do a lot of that, as you can tell.
Is it bifocal time?
I think it might be trifocal time, G. I don't know.
I didn't know there were trifocals.
Yeah, try them out. Oh, where's my soundboard?
Oh,
where's my soundboard?
Where's the soundboard?
I can't use it. Can't use it because
really
I'm.
Good.
Thank you, I appreciate that. All right, guys, I am so sorry. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
I also want to take a moment and agree with Lindsay, or rather her husband. So look, Lindsay, she dissed you. She didn't even agree with you. Kate, what is your problem? Wow. She's never going to write in again. And I'm so sorry, Kate. I'm completely kidding with you. Let me continue. If Cassidy doesn't drain Icarius and get those powers, for me, this whole storyline is a bit of a waste. Was it nice to see Cass on his own? Absolutely. I'd watch Joe Gilgan lick dirt off a chalkboard. Not that that's a thing. Don't judge me.
Did she write not that that's a thing?
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Okay.
Because I was thinking in my brain, is that a thing?
Oh, really? I was like,
yeah, that is so funny.
I thought you got a nice little giggle off that one, sir.
That is so funny.
However, he's been powered down since episode 1 of the whole damn show. Plus, that's the perfect ending for Icarius. A taste of his own medicine, if you will.
That's true.
Oh, dude, listen to this. I also agree with Steve that all the exploding humperdews was too... Now, hold up. Didn't you? Oh, no. I'm so sorry, dude. I thought you said that you liked them last time, but you didn't. It says the whole exploding humperdews was too much and was my main gripe with the episode. I found myself looking at my phone during the scene, which is always a good, you can always tell. And she says that too. It's never the best sign. However, the Jesse Star banter salvaged some of it. Now, I feel badly for all my agreements with Steve, so I'll shout out Dan out for the Misfits reference last episode because I adored the show. That is a damn good show. I'm on season 3.
Are you really?
Yeah. The beginning of Joe Gilgan love. So hearing that made my heart happy. Plus, I agree that this show needs webisodes. Kate, while you're listening, just so you know that if you listen to the Julianne Emery and Malcolm Barrett interview, which I think I'm just going to start calling it Hooverstone because that's a lot of words right there.
Yes.
If you listen to the Hooverstone interview, you will hear a little something about that. We touched on that. But I'm glad you agree because I think it would be awesome. Still do. Mostly ones of Tulip and Featherstone being assholes to each other and just beating the shit out of one another. The feud is killing me. Those women are the best, and I always want more. Also, A Day in the Life of TC is high on that list because Colin Cunningham has made the character likable and way more interesting than his comic counterpart. I'm totally sold on TC.
Yes. Yes.
I really don't know what's going to happen. We've only seen this episode. We haven't seen the next one. I really hope he sticks around, but
I really do.
I don't know.
I mean, because I think whatever happens to Grandma, that doesn't necessarily mean well, something happened to Jody. I don't know what, but that doesn't mean anything's happening to TC. I don't know, but TC has sold me. I really love the actor's portrayal of this character. Yeah. So good.
Colin Cunningham is smashing TC.
Smashing,
love
bro.
it. Says, holy crap, sorry for that long ramble. Again, I'll just say thanks for the podcast. It makes the workday better, and I appreciate it. Have a great day, gents. Kate, you have a great day, too. Thank you so much for your email.
You rock, Kate.
You're a superstar.
Applause. That is what you are.
You could have had him. You could have had applause, but it's not happening today.
Okay, so no more sound effects? Okay, that's cool. But yes, Kate, I agree. As far as, here's the thing. With Misfits, I'm not as far as Dan is in, but for everybody that doesn't want to spoilers, please cover the ear. Dan told me that one of my favorite actors leaves the show, and I haven't watched it since then.
Really?
And I need to just watch. I haven't. Ever since you told me that, I stopped watching.
Man, don't forget the webisode. There's actually a YouTube webisode that will tell you what happens to that particular character. I don't want to give too much away. I love that character,
I did too. Dude.
I did too. He started off, I don't want to even say who it is, but he started off a little bit too much for me.
He was way too much.
And I'll tell you this. We're not going to go into, if you guys watch Misfits, then great. You'll know what we're talking about. And I'm sorry if you don't, but we'll just go quickly on this one. That dude's character, I don't think would fly today.
I think he does just not enough for it to fly today.
You think so?
I think he really taught whoever wrote that character in. Yes, it would be a little bit controversial, but the reactions to him are good enough where they're like, okay, he's obviously, there's not anyone else being like, yeah, right on. Everyone's like, you're just gross. Their reaction to him is correct. No one's being like, yeah, rock and roll. You should say that. Everyone's just like, you're just gross, dude. So I like the reactions to that character. When he says something gross, they all unanimously are like, ugh, that's how it should be.
You know what? I know that that's how the guy's supposed to play it, you know, but it's people like that wear me out when they're just constantly on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't deal with it. But I love that guy. And I'm really kind of bummed out that he's not there anymore. But that's why they brought in Gilgan. I'm sure Gilgan's like, you know what? I'm not bummed. I'm actually kind of happy about it.
Totally.
Those two on there would have been too much, man. Too much.
Way too much. But as far as the Humperdoo explosions last week, I mean, Kate, you already know. That junk was ridiculous. But you're right. You did make a great point. I love the banter between Preacher and Hairstar. I like the fact that we got to see that he has a weakness. That's a big deal because Hairstar seemed like he did not have a weakness. Like if he did like something and that thing was taken away, he'd be like, such is life. But he does have a weakness, and that weakness is Allfather. That's who he was scared of. He's been conditioned to be scared of him, like we said last week, like Preacher's been conditioned to be scared of Grandma. So to see them kind of interact was pretty fun. So great email, Kate. Love you.
Yes, thank you very much, Kate. Hey, Steve, hold up a second. My computer kind of froze up a little bit.
Your Mac?
It's not frozen. I split the screen somehow. Now you're like all full screen, but I can't see my notes. So that's not going to be very helpful. So hold on a second.
Can't see my notes.
I can see your notes. The camera's low. Camera's a little bit too low, bro. I'm just saying.
I can see my notes.
I can see your nuts.
Gee, you know what? If they find out that Fresno has like a leak of some weird chemical, then they're like, has anyone been acting weird today? We'll be like, that's what happened. There's been a leak, a chemical leak.
Like
something is in the air today.
Oh yeah, we're on one today. I like it though.
But something, I don't know why we're both there's something happening today, and I don't know what it is.
We're feisty as fuck today. That's what it is.
Yeah, something's up.
All right.
So that was it. We were awesomely led into a little break by Kate with her awesome email, and now we're going to go into another part that we like to call Dan Ram's
the breakdown. That's right, sir.
Yes.
Ladies and gents, are you ready? Because I know I am. Let's talk a little bit of Preacher today. The episode, season 3, episode 9, is entitled Schwanzkopf. And who's it directed by again?
Kevin Hooks.
Kevin Hooks, the man that directed this one, and a damn good episode it was. By the way, for those of you that don't speak German or didn't bother to find out what Schwanzkopf is, it actually means dickhead. Figure it out.
Schwanz.
Hey, get over here and take a look at my Schwanz.
I've heard someone say that before.
I'm using it the wrong accent, but I think I'm going to go with it. I'm keeping it, and I'm going to use that accent when I say it. Get over here and look at my Schwanz.
I've heard that accent do it, because there's no way that my brain went to that accent and you said that accent. It must be I heard someone say that on a movie.
I got this thing that you do, though, where I think anytime we make penis jokes, it kind of ends up going over here for some reason.
Because dice. I didn't know. Oh, we're not going to do that right now. Okay, let's do it.
Look at you. We're both using restraint now. That's awesome.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I was about to go into some serious stuff.
Let's do this, guys. Season 3, episode 9, Schwanzkopf. Here we go, kids. Strap on. Oops, not strap on. Strap in. I don't want to use my sound effects anymore. I said strap on. I just want to point that out. All right, here we go.
Yes, you did.
So the first scene we see these doors open up. It's kind of a foggy screen, and we have Humperdoo. The man Humperdoo walks in. If he's a man, he's a boy, he's a man-child. Walks into the little cell that he's been coming into throughout the last couple of episodes. The Allfather says, "Here he comes, the light upon the world." But Humperdoo is way too entertained by this reflection in the two-way mirror. You guys remember that, right? And Jesse is still strapped in that gurney thing where he's got the suction tube, the Genesis suction tube to him. And Jesse just looks at him and goes, yeah, he's something else. The Tom Brady cocktail is soon injected by Dr. Slotnick into Humperdoo, and he lets out a little bit of a yelp. And Jesse and the Allfather watch from the other room. The Allfather's like, "Any last words, Mr. Custer?" And Jesse tells him, Yeah, I got some last words. Fuck all of y'all. Sorry, that was Ice Cube from America's Most Wanted, and I just want to throw that in real quick.
You don't know nothing about. You know what? Oddly enough, Dan does know something about that. I know it because
I'm not allowed to sing the song though, and that's quite all right.
Really?
There's just too many.
You know what's funny? Oh, this is such a tangent. I was asking a friend of mine if he knows.
Sorry, guys. But I really want to hear now. Go ahead.
I was asking a friend of mine. I was like, you don't know nothing about some rap music. He's like, what are you talking about? It's plain to see you can't change me because I'm going to be a brother for life. I said, no, you did not just say, of all songs, why would you go to that one and exchange brother?
See, that doesn't work for me. I just feel like, I'm just not going to sing this one.
Just not, exactly. I'm like, okay, bruh, you could have gone to any NWA song, but you know you can't say that word, and so now it sounds super corny. You know what I'm saying? It sounds super, and it was so funny to me because I'm like, did you just change it for me now? Or do you say it like that in your car? Because it was clear enough that he knows the song well. So I'm like, every time you rap into that song, you say brother for life? So I gave him the very squinty eye.
Cube just says it too many times, and I love that song. And I know every word to it, but
you're the one that got me onto America's Most Wanted. I always skip to Predator.
It doesn't sound right though, huh? I heard payback's a motherfucking brother. That's why I'm sick of getting shit like a goddamn stepchild.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't work.
I didn't know. I was one of the few that didn't know America, and everyone's been telling me about America's Most Wanted. And there's
one of my all-time favorite albums ever.
Dude, I wasn't, and I just skipped it into Predator, and they're like, go back, or in Death Certificate too. And I just skipped over America's Most until I got your iPod, and I was like, oh, this guy, it was the building blocks for that. Anyway, that was a funny thing. And I actually hear that more than anything, where I'm like, okay, if you really know this song, do you really just say it like that in your car? Or how does that work? But
I think it probably equates to that scene in Office Space. Do you remember that scene where he was I forgot what it was.
Rolls the window up. And
so I'm writing in my diaries. But then the black guy walks by and he just rolls up the window.
He turns it down. Yeah.
That's the classic.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. But yeah, so that happened. I wanted to tell you about it. But anyway, back to it.
I know, I'm sorry.
No stop.
Jesse doesn't tell him that at all. He doesn't start rapping Ice Cube. He tells him that he has a gun in his pocket. You gullible sons of bitches, you. And Allfather tells him, wit till the very end. But Jesse insists that he has a gun. Allfather's not buying it. He thinks, oh, this guy's just being an asshole. But the Allfather actually reaches into Jesse's pocket. And guess what? Surprise, pulls out a gun. Jesse tells him, like, I told you, dude. And he tells the Allfather that Star, wanted to kill him. And this is where the Allfather says, then he shall know my buttocks like few men ever have. Choice of words there, sir. Jesse requests to be untied from the gurney since he's going to be killed anyway. And the Allfather isn't having it. He tells him, nah, son. And Jesse tells him, what if he did say nah, son? That'd be funny. Jesse tells the Allfather that he's got everything to keep him safe. He's got his guards. He's got the Grail. He's got Genesis, essentially. Almost has it. So why don't he just let him get down on his knees and die like a good Christian man? The Allfather actually obliges this, but that was not a good idea. We'll talk about that shortly.
It was a genius plan, dude.
It really was.
Like, the whole time he's doing this, I'm like, if you make it religious, Allfather's gonna comply, because he's like, we're seeing Jesse Custer finally oblige to say, fine, I just want a Christian, I want to be able to say goodbye and do it the right way. And in Allfather's brain's like, well, we have to give him the chance to do that. Very smart.
I think it proved that he's the winner on this episode. Because the Allfather ends up obliging him, Steve, and he says, but you know what? You're going to keep your handcuffs on. He doesn't see that. He just, action, not words kind of thing. And he tells him, on your knees, man of God. Jesse falls to his knees, and he does something odd. And the first time I had to actually rewind it. Maybe I don't know. I was into my notes. But it was kind of an ingenious move. I don't know exactly how he got the bolt off of his neck, but that's in fact what he does. He gets the bolt that's off of his neck, and as he falls to the ground, sticks it to the Allfather like a G. You don't know this yet. I'm just filling you in.
Oh, I know how he does it.
Well, he falls, and then he just sticks it to him.
He holds on to, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was it. What I'm saying is, if I'm literally going the path of the show, I didn't catch that at first. They didn't show him do it. They showed him do it in a second.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. But you know me, I think too much about this kind of shit. So Jesse does fall to his knees. And before he gets there, like we said, he puts the electricity bolt, as I'm calling it, onto the Allfather. Now, Allfather has him at gunpoint, and Jesse prays. He says, forgive me. Amen. Not much said there. Allfather sees that and says nothing more, but Jesse shakes his head. So the Allfather's completely unaware that this bolt's been stuck to him, like I said, and he's getting ready to take Genesis out. So he hits the switch on that little shocker thing, and he's immediately stunned. The tube that Genesis travels through gets pulled from Jesse, and it moves into, gets sucked to the wall. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, right? You can visualize that. Jesse shoots a Grail officer and he starts to struggle with the Allfather. And the Allfather uses his weight to try to crush Jesse against this desk. But the desk...
And Jesse is hurting. Yeah. Jesse is legitimately like, I can't do anything about this. The only saving grace is what happens next. That's it. Because I think Allfather had him dead to rights. If he would have just laid on Jesse, it's game time.
Eventually it would have been, yeah. But, it was kind of weird because... Again, I'm thinking, this is a comic show, you know what I mean? But I was thinking too much about it because did he not, in fact, sit on someone's head and crushed him, right?
Totally.
So, granted, the body's thicker than the head, but when they fall to the ground, he doesn't get crushed. Just a little something, but I'm not critiquing.
The weight was spread out, though, or evenly.
Mine was just suspension of disbelief shit. I don't want to, don't email me. I'm just messing around, guys.
Physics professors, please email and let this brother know what's going on here.
So the desk breaks and they both fall to the floor, as Steve had pointed out, along with the Allfather's vomit vase, which is pretty nasty.
So gross.
Yeah.
You know what the interesting thing is?
What's that?
Oh, let me break this. Check this out, G. So the vomit vase breaks, right? And falls. Doesn't break, tips over, however it happens. It falls. It just looked like ramen.
That's what I thought. I knew that it was the vase, the vase, but
it looked like chicken noodle soup.
That's what I thought. I thought that, and then it makes sense because it probably was obviously noodles. But no, if you're binging and purging, it's going to come straight back up again. So that's what it was. Yeah,
it didn't look as gross as I thought it. I was like, oh, that doesn't look bad. They should have made it thicker, like the goop thicker.
I'm about like one paragraph off of this. Well, let me get to it because there's something else that I was like, oh, that's not that bad. So the Allfather tells Jesse that there's no use in resisting. He's going to crush him, and he will have Genesis. But Jesse manages to grab the Tom Brady cocktail that just conveniently, folks, is laying right next to the floor because they know there was a big scuffle. And or laying right next to them, I should say. He grabs this thing, and he jams it right into the Allfather's neck and sticks the whole Tom Brady cocktail into him, and he slowly pulls it out. Allfather and Jesse then notice that the electric charger's on the floor. They both look at it at the same time, kind of give each other that look, and they both scurry to get it. But he's the fucking Allfather, so of course Jesse's going to get to it first.
Of course.
You know what I mean? That was a given. Yep. So when he gets to the bolt, he grabs it, he puts it back on his own neck, and the Allfather knows what's about to happen now. Jesse gives him that smile like, I got you, punk, and he shocks himself, sending Genesis right out of his body and directly, because he's in the line of fire, if you will, into the Allfather.
I don't know how he thought that was going to work.
Like, it could have just gone anywhere.
Yes, I don't know why he thought it, because all we know is that it leaves his body, and if there's a tube forcing it into a room with somebody else, it will go there.
Well, you know what, though? Dig this, though. Because it's always looking for a host, right?
Yeah.
So the Allfather technically was the only host in that enclosed room.
True.
But, you know, if we go to the comic version, they have to build in heaven, they build this like special cell to hold this thing. But it looks like some good old asbestos will take care of that and let him, drywall and asbestos will do the trick.
It was a great idea, though. I was like, this is Preacher at his preacherest.
Yeah, it was good.
Period. Yes.
It could have been pulled from a panel. It wasn't, but it could have been. So when Genesis gets into the Allfather, you can tell that he's feeling Genesis flow through his entire body and his soul. And, you also know that he's going to explode, which he, of course, does. So what I was getting at is I was expecting more with the explosion. Not like I'm disappointed in it by any means. Nothing like that. I'm not critiquing the props. I was just thinking that there'd be a lot more of him to explode everywhere. That's how I pictured it in my head. But, whatever. Oh, it is. There's a lot. Don't get me wrong. There was a whole bunch.
The thing that I got out of this was that he really believes in this stuff. Allfather he didn't just say, this is my ultimate plan to take over the world. He really believed that this is what was supposed to happen. Because before he died, he said something like, all grace be whatever. Like, he thought, no, I believe in this stuff. It's like, wow, it wasn't some ploy. He just thought he was actually doing the Lord's work.
Thanks for bringing that up, too, that he did say, I know what you're talking about. He did say all blessed or all graced. And normally what I do is I have the subtitles on. But because we were watching this on from the...
Yes.
I can't even think of the name of what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. The special site. I cannot think of the damn word right now. It's driving me crazy. Screener site. Thank you. Because we were watching it from the screener site, I didn't get any of that. So no big deal. But there is one thing that we should talk about. Because they have done a deviance from the comic, we're not going to get that scene that I think a lot of people wanted to see. And I don't want to do too many spoilers for people that want to read the comic, because it is a pretty cool part. We're not going to get the helicopter scene, guys, with Humperdew and the Allfather.
Oh, I'm about to do something very blasphemous.
That's okay. I love to blaspheme. I don't know if you know that about me.
I like this better than the comic.
Really?
I like how they did the Humperdew thing and the Allfather thing. The Humperdew thing was something I wouldn't have even thought of. If I were thinking how to get rid of Humperdew, I would never have thought of the thing that Jesse thinks of. And when he did it, I said, oh my God, that's so smart.
It was very resourceful, to say the least. Yeah.
Dude, that was crazy.
Yeah, you know what? I don't really mind it. I don't mind it at all, actually. It's just that, and it wasn't even that type of a Humperdew, because the Humperdew in the comic was a young kid with like a bowl cut that just ran around going, Humperdew, Humperdew, and just running all over the place. And someone's always like chasing after him because he's like pissing on things. And, you know, there are a lot of similarities to him that Tyson Ritter does, but it's a completely different Humperdew. But a great Humperdew. I like him. I like his crazy
I learned
eye.
something about Humperdew this episode too.
Humperdew?
And we'll get to that as you go further.
He makes horsey sounds, I can tell you that.
It really you know what? There was a touching moment for me.
Yeah, he was touching himself a lot.
Oh, my goodness.
So when Genesis goes back into Jesse, he falls back against the wall, and blood and innards and everything are just dripping from the ceiling. This gives us our intro. What I liked about it, and it's so subtle of a thing, is that when the song starts, screw it, I'm going to do it just so I can tell you what I'm talking about. So the song starts and it goes, and you just hear a, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Something falls. Anyway, that's it. No more. I promise. So the intro ends, and we now find a very teary-eyed Featherstone. This is a different Featherstone. We also talked about this on the interview, guys. She's waiting at the bus stop going to hell, and she's got Hitler, she's got Eugene, Angel of Death is now there, and the Saint of Killers, of course, and they're waiting for this shuttle to come. And she breaks out into Onward Christian Soldiers. Julianne Emery made a comment that, like she said, Featherstone's essentially kind of dead inside, you know, and she's just like hardcore, and there's really nothing that she's afraid of, but she is afraid of dying and going to hell. Yes. So if you'll notice in the scene, she's crying because she's afraid. So I just wanted to give you a little tidbit, guys. Sydney, who is the Angel of Death, has heard enough of this singing, and she uses her whip to quiet her down. She cracks it against her neck and like gives her the whole choke thing, and she tells her, no more singing.
Also, we do sing that song, dude. Like, when I was in Christian school, that was like a staple.
Oh, yeah, I've heard it before. I know that jam.
Oh, well, look at you.
That's my joint, sir.
I did not know that.
No, I bump that shit down Blackstone at least twice a week.
I believe that.
That's our cruising
Dan
street.
Ram is on it.
Dan Ram. That's what it's going to say on my license plate. Never.
That is actually really dope, though. Okay. Dan Ram 1? That'd be dope.
No, don't say Dan Ram 1. Please don't say that. And please don't one Ram Dan either, because I don't want anybody getting any wrong ideas.
They hit you. They're like, hey, that's what your license plate said to do.
When your name is Dan, see, you don't have this, Steve. You don't get like, what's up, Steve? I'm going to call you Steve the Beeve from now on.
But that's not as clever.
It's really not, but it rhymes. But see, when you're Dan
the Man is all the time.
You get Dan the Man, and then you always got to go, yeah, that's witty, because no one has ever told me that before.
Do they have a soundboard, though?
Fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. You fuck yourself, sir. I'll take no more of this.
Because then it would be funny. You'd be like, okay, you're right.
Oh, you hurt my feelings, man.
Gee, I love this soundboard.
Does he? I don't think he
that
does.
Is funny. Hey, what's your theory on Homegirl's voice?
I think that they all talk that way. They all talk that way when they come from hell.
Does, but
and so did Mannering. Miss Mannering. I think that's just part of the deal. You're a for lack of a better word, you're a demon from hell. Your voice is gonna sound a little crazy. But I wonder. But the thing is that, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there is something to this, and maybe I'm wrong. Do their voices sound that way when they're in hell? I think
that's what I'm thinking.
I think they do, because I do believe Miss Mannering was always kind of like, going back and forth like that. So maybe that's just the deal. You're in hell. You're going to get this new voice. But it's uneven. I don't like it. And I don't care. You're in hell. Shame on you.
That's true. I'm also thinking, what if their real voice is that low voice and they're trying to sound normal? But their natural voice is that low-pitched voice.
I had to stop myself from saying some stupid shit. I really don't know what it is, man. You guys have any input on that? Because I'm not just, throwing that out there. I'm kind of curious. What do you think causes this? Is this just because they're demons from hell? That's how it is, and that's just them's the rules, if you will? Or are they assigned this voice? What do you think it is? Let us know.
Please.
Ask the word podcast@gmail.com.
It is distracting for Death, because it's almost like her mouth doesn't go quite with the voice. So it's like, it sounds like, whereas Satan, it almost works for him, but for Death, it's kind of like it's almost a distracting thing because it sounds like either it's going too slow, it's not fitting how her mouth is moving. It's weird. It's weird.
I'm a very attractive woman, but I don't get a lot of dates because of my voice.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird thing. I'm like, okay. But either way, hey, that's a little nitpick.
No, I've wondered that too. I wouldn't even necessarily say I was nitpicking it. Not that you said that I was. It's just, but it's always been there. Like, what's up with that? And they never seem to explain it. But I guess it's just one of those things. So the bus to hell pulls up, and Hitler, Santa Killers, and Eugene, all of them, I should say, get on. As Sydney and Featherstone are about to board, though, who appears, Steve? But none other than Tulip. And she gets all tulipy with the Angel of Death right now. And I would like to play that for you, sir. Do you mind? Would that be okay with you?
Oh, was this you were actually waiting for it? Oh, yes. I didn't know you were asking. Like,
I was going to play it anyway, but I was trying to have a conversation with you, dog.
Oh, cool. Yeah, please.
So, all right. So this is the first audio clip of the night, the day. The mid-afternoon is really where we're at here. Just in case you're wondering, in Fresno, California, not really in Europe. And I say it's roughly, 4 o'clock, Steve?
Probably.
I'm just giving them where we're at.
5
o'clock. Wow, time flies when you're fighting about sound effects, huh? Okay, buddy, here we go.
Fighting?
I'm just kidding, dude. Here we go.
Hey! Where are you going with my briefcase? Give it back right now. Maybe I don't beat the snot out of you.
Small woman. Do you know who I am?
Small woman.
Yeah. You're the creepy skank stole our briefcase.
I have other names.
Abaddon. Azrael.
Excuse me.
Angel of Death.
I was going to ask you
What
out.
about Satan's bitch? He's your boss, right? Told you to go on up there and grab Tulip O'Hare? Well, you done that part right. But the part you did really wrong was walk off with something meant for his old lady friend.
Madame Langell.
Your boss made a deal. And I'm guessing he's gonna rip your pretty little head off when he hears you screwed up.
I don't like you.
You don't have to. You just gotta brush your teeth every once in a while.
Oh, snap,
And give
Tulip.
me back the goddamn briefcase.
I'll be seeing you.
There we go, sir. A little bit long, guys. Sorry about that.
So here's the thing. Right now, when she walks off, I already know. This is how good Ruth Negga is. Her look at Featherstone, you see pity happen. And all it takes is a little bit of pity. Tulip cannot shrug off feelings, even if it's little. She has to go and fulfill that feeling at least 100%. She's like, I sure wish I would have done that little thing. She's turning around and doing that thing. So when she's walking, you see her look at her, it's like, you know what, skip it. But Tulip can't let it go. She just can't.
I totally see what you're talking about the sympathy look that she gives her.
Yes.
But the way I took it is that at this particular part, excuse me, I'm actually looking at it. She gives her a look kind of like, told you, bitch. You know what I mean? And then she starts to walk away. But getting back to what you're saying, that's when the regret kicks in. And that's why she doesn't.
In my opinion, sorry to interrupt you.
No worries.
As soon as she sees her, there's only one reason to be mean to Death. She was going to let her go, though. She was going to tell her that it's not her the whole time. She was trying to figure out, how do I make this girl mad? How do I make Death this? Because otherwise Tulip just gets the job done and dips. She was abnormally mean in this time. I think she was just like, okay, look, I'm going to get her away. She was going to get Featherstone away from her, period. It was going to happen. And so when she gives up the briefcase, she's like, well, if she gave me the briefcase, what's the next move?
Maybe so. But at the same time, I don't know, give me this maybe, that she at least wanted to make her feel like.
Totally.
Because Featherstone did kill her and talk shit on her the entire time, even when they went to Osaka or not. So maybe she just wanted to put a little bit of scare into her.
And I think the only reason that Tulip, if anybody can get over that, is because Tulip in her life has done things she's regretted. So she knows.
She can relate.
Yeah, she could totally relate saying, she killed me, but she was doing a job. Tulip has done things for jobs before. Just for the job, she had to handle this business. And now that she's worked alongside, and remember when Featherstone complimented her, Tulip liked the compliment. Think about this. When's the last time Tulip had a homegirl? The closest thing to a homegirl in the crew.
Never.
This is the first time, and she met someone as tough as she is.
There's an email that Christina sent in, our listener Christina, and she actually made a very good point. I thought it was a good point. Julianne answered it a little bit differently than I thought she was going to. I'll let you guys listen to that. But the question was, do you think that, and I'm paraphrasing, guys, sorry, but do you think that these two are so hardcore to each other because they respect each other? And I thought that was a really good question. I think that's, in my opinion, I think that's
what they're going to write.
There is a level of respect. But she's an O'Hare, dude. She's, that the way as they're putting her in the show, she's an O'Hare. She's always going to do the wrong thing or get herself into a little bit more trouble beforehand. So maybe she did. I don't know. I still kind of think that she gave her that look like told you, bitch. But maybe she was just doing that to kind of freak her out a little bit.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I think that it's going to be a situation of she respects. There's only two reasons that she lets Featherstone go. That she tries to get Featherstone away. One, she respects her. Two, she can't deal with that on her conscience. Those are the only two possibilities. Because it's not because it's only two things.
She's afraid of regret too.
That's it. She's afraid of, this isn't right. And I don't want to walk away from something. It's not her. She's going to go to hell and then if she goes to hell, Tulip for the rest of her time is going to be like, she's somewhere down there burning because of me. So do you want to, and then knowing Tulip, she is not going to rest until she gets her out of there. And that's going to be like, now I got to spend time doing that bull crap. She'd rather just how about we don't let her go in the first place?
So much for Bimini. Guess we ain't going this year either.
We got to go to hell to get there. Because now she knows she can get there. She would have gone and saved her eventually. She ain't going to and also, she doesn't like Saint. She doesn't like
I don't think she... No, there's several reasons why, obviously.
And so she's like, these people aren't. There's no way these people are going to get the upper hand on Tulip this time. Not a freaking chance. And I love that. I loved that. We'll talk about it a bit. But I'm going to come back to a part I absolutely adored about this episode. So, okay.
All right. So as Tulip's walking away, Sydney takes the whip from around Featherstone's neck. Featherstone struggles to tell her because, she just had a damn whip around her neck. She's been choking, that she's got the wrong person and that she does manage to get it that she's a servant of God. Tulip's hearing all this. Now, this is where I was going with it. But Tulip's hearing all this as she's walking away and she tells the angel of death that she doesn't know. She turns around and goes, I don't know who this O'Hare chick is, but I know it's not her, as she points to Featherstone. But just then, my man Eugene, he pops up from the bus and he starts tapping on the window and he's calling her, Tulip O'Hare, it's me, Eugene. Tulip's like, shit. And now she knows she's screwed. So she turns to run, but Sydney takes out that whip and catches her by the feet, drags her back to the bus. She reaches out for the briefcase, but Jody steps over there. Now, see, I thought Jody and her were cool, but Jody's got a mission to do as well. It's all business, you know what I mean? So Jody gets to it first, and he picks it up, and he says, so long, Tulip. And Tulip gets dragged.
No, Jody does like Tulip, because later on he says something about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's business.
Yeah,
is what
but
I'm getting
he
at.
does
he
like
had
her.
to.
He's cool with Tulip.
Yeah.
And he even regrets it. He says something as, you should have done something. You just let... And Jody would never say something like that. Jody's like, whatever. But this time he's like, yeah, you kind of... He didn't say it, but he insinuated, you should have done something to help her.
TCB like, I like the way her body drags across the grass like a snake.
I like it.
I like it. It made me feel kind of funny. I'm going to go hit this duck real quick. Wow. All right, here we go. So on the bus, sorry, man, but this shit happens in Preacher World. On the bus, Eugene sits behind Tulip, just like they're on a field trip, and says, what a great surprise. And Tulip's like, fuck, and the bus drives off. She said fuck this time around, guys. I just want to point that out. And we see that the back of the bus, just in case you like those little Easter eggs or whatnot, the name of the bus company is Distant Vistas. That's a throwback. They had that when de Blanc and Fior went to hell. So they drive into this cloud of hell fog, I guess, and it envelops them, and there they go. They're off to the races.
I loved that effect. Absolutely loved it. And here's what I do. Oh, well, it hasn't come up yet. Never mind.
You simmer down over there, Hudson, because we're going to get there soon enough. But I do have questions about that fog. We'll get to it in a second. Because right now we're going to talk about Icarius, who is talking to Cassidy, and he's trying to give him his view on his practices, why he does the thing that he does. He tells Cass that he doesn't understand because, the victims were all dead before they came to him, dead inside anyway. They were lost, they were giving up on their mortality, and they were seeking more. So in his eyes, he shows them the promise of vampire life before they learn about their actual, the torment of their existence. Cass isn't buying any of this. He calls him out, calls him a mental case, and that he believes that his philosophy is a bunch of shit. He's just believing his own lies. And he calls out Icarius on his bullshit philosophy. He says, killing people to set them free. You're a mental case. He says it's mental, and on top of that, it's a bloody lie. He tells Icarius that he sounds like he's in a Kevin Spacey movie. Did you get that reference?
Yes.
What was the reference?
Oh, it's Usual Suspects.
Where does that fit? It's probably like a duh kind of thing, but if it's not important, I'll just move along. I assume it's not.
I think when you know how he's like, who is this guy?
Oh, he's like you're playing somebody, but you're not really that person kind of thing. He Kaiser Soze him is what he did. Okay, gotcha. I understand now.
That's what I took from it. But when he said Kevin Spacey movie, I said this is going to be interesting. And then okay, here's the thing.
He backed off of it, huh?
Yes, and I'm thinking maybe did it happen yet when they were writing this scene? Because even so, when they made this scene, it had happened. So I guarantee at least one writer was like, should we do it? Should we say
right turn?
Yes, and they're just like, no, let's just go Usual Suspects, because they could have gone Kevin Spacey and took it an interesting way, like an interesting comment. Yeah. And that's something he would have said. Like, he would have said this for sure. Cassidy would have said it.
And that's why I was like, well, that's all you're giving me? Like, usually he goes on this big, it's like a Kevin Spacey movie and then he'll say what he's referring to.
For sure, dude. Because
I don't know. Maybe someone did kind of go that.
Yeah, let's not. Because I guarantee one writer was like, if we're going to say, because the thing is, if you're going to use Kevin Spacey, you could have used anybody. Because there's a lot of trickaroo movies where it's just like, you thought it was this person, but it was that person the whole time. They could have used any of those movies. But
Janitor Johnson.
Yes, but they used Kevin Spacey's. And I was like, if you're going to use that name, I'm shocked that you didn't go a different direction.
Yeah, they didn't stick the landing.
Yeah, but I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it's just a joke. This is just jokes, joshing. Guys. We're just, pulling on your chains a little bit. So Cassidy also calls Icarius out on what he's using it for, because it truly is like a drug that he's using it for. And he tells him, you've been killing people all these years and it feels good and it's a power trip. That's why you do it. And this is where Icarius actually he tells him to admit it, and he more or less does, because he goes, you're going to have to, you should do this with me. We should do this together. This is what I've always wanted. And it's like he's talking about sharing the needle with him or something like that. He's clearly an addict for this power at this point. Cassidy sees this and tells him that they're not drugs. He sees the fact, I should say, let me kind of clarify what I meant, sees it that he's talking about it like it's a drug. And he tells him that they're not drugs, they're freaking people. And he reminds him of Lisa and the other guy, Nang, I think it was. And the fact that, they trusted Cass, or at least Lisa did. Icarius yells back to him, they're losers and they're posers, just like you said. And if they want to play with death, then so be it. So Cass tells Icarius that he's going to go tell the others. He's like, I'm telling. And he says he's going to turn it around and go tell them all what Icarius is about to do, or what he has been doing for that matter. And Icarius tells him that he can't let him do that. And a fight breaks out. And Cassidy fights hard, but it just proves that Icarius is way too strong. And he ends up winning that one.
And Icarius lands punches just to let him see how your punches,
it's not doing anything.
It's not doing it, even if I let you, because he let him. Saying, I could dodge all day, but let me let you land a few punches so that in your brain, if you mythologically land a punch, you can see that it wouldn't matter anyway. But Cassidy's so used to fight. Here's another thing, Jay.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is Cass, and they give him a chance to be kind of Cass, and they make him look weak. They're just, I don't understand it, dog.
Well, I think in this case, I think that the effect was correct because he's fighting a stronger
totally.
vampire.
But if you're, then at least let us see you do the most before then. Don't make it so that the first time in a while we see you fight, you're Tridash. And then before that, you get pushed against a wall and get knocked unconscious.
Yeah, he did not fare well that day at all.
I mean, you've been getting his monkey tail kicked like for the last few weeks. And I'm like, okay, dude, we got to see. Again, maybe this is Cassidy. And we're just looking for something that's not there.
I'm not really I guess I am pausing, but I'm sitting there thinking about that, and I'm really starting to think that that's just what
okay. That's perfectly fine.
At least this season.
Yeah, because even the person that attacks him in the later scene, he doesn't do the most to him.
No.
And the Cassidy we know would have like punched through his chest.
This Cassidy's like, oh, I'm going to give you a right scolding.
Hey, you leave me alone. I'm like, dude, that's not what. Yeah, I mean, what are we doing right now? And so
I have a good mind to wash your mouth out with soap.
That's the Cassidy we have right now. But again, this is Cassidy, and I have to quit saying when are they going to show real Cassidy when the show is pounding it into our brains. This is the
real Cassidy.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, it's Joseph Gilligan, and I'm good with that.
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
So speaking of Cassidy, Icarius slams his ass into one of the coffins, like wrestling style, throws him right into there. Like those videos, you ever watch those fight videos where that one bully always gets like slammed? That slam, that's what he did. Slams him into his coffin. He tries to like break it down with Cass a little bit and tells him, look, I think that we should be doing this thing together. We're like this close to happiness. And Cass tells him that he'd rather be sad than be, like him, I guess. And he exposes his neck and tells him, just get it over with. He's ready to just let Icarius kill him. But Icarius tells him, no, it's going to be worse than that. And he knocks him unconscious. So back at Grail headquarters, Jesse is standing among all the guts and the innards and everything. And he's trying to pick the handcuff lock when Star walks in with his beignets that he got sent for. And he just looks around. And the thing that, they've always done this in the comic, but they're really staying true to it now, is every time you see Star, he's got a new hat on. So this time, he left in one, I believe it was the beanie cap, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. The one that looked like a condom on his head. And when he comes back, he's rocking a white Kangol like Samuel Jackson. He's wearing it backwards. He looks around and he says, very impressive, Messiah. Mission accomplished.
He's freaking giddy, dude. I don't really see
Yeah, he's trying
him
to, I noticed that. He's trying to fight back like a smile.
Oh my God. I haven't seen Hairstar this excited about anything. He's just like, oh my God. Like I was like, look at Hairstar. Because the person he was so afraid of, his monster is gone.
It's a massive wall that's been cleared for him to go ahead and execute the plan that he's been trying to do anyway. He's got rid of the Allfather. Of course he's
Yes, perfect.
So once Jesse eventually gets free, they both hear these, this is what I was talking about earlier, hear like a kind of sound, and they're looking around for it. And when they look up, they have, they got the Allfather's rectum hanging from the ceiling, like it's just hanging.
Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, I was saying this before. I believe this is the first booty hole on network television.
56 wrinkles, remember.
There's no way that they've shown one this close. And here's what I'm wondering. How did they get away with it?
Well, everybody poops, sir. It's not that big of a deal. I really think it's just because it was a prosthetic.
Gee.
But there was no... Like, it's not like, it could have been a butt. Like, it's fully an ass.
And I'm shocked that I'm shocked that the censors were like, perfectly fine. So that opens up okay, here's the thing. Say we have those sex robots. Are you going to be able to do whatever you want to those on network television since it's a prosthetic? Because I don't believe they showed the prosthetic on Boogie Nights on network television.
No, I think you're right about that.
I think that this is a crazier one than that would be.
And even more so how it's presented and what it does.
Dude.
And I don't know if that has anything to do with that it's not technically penetration. And, there are those liberties that they give each show, and I don't have them written down or I can read them off to you or anything, where you can say the F word one time, you can do this or that one time. So maybe that's how they got away with it. Like, okay, you've got a ton of blood and everything, but we see that all the time. You know what, Frank, let's give him the butthole. Frank's like, yeah, let's do that. And then they go have lunch.
That is crazy.
It's a crazy scene, to say the least.
That is crazy. When I was watching it, it like took me aback. I was like, what?
That there is an asshole on the screen, I say.
I said that. I said, by Jove.
By Jove.
Like
Geronimo.
My cup of tea on the little plate with my pinky out was just shocked.
Did your monocle fall out?
Yes.
Did you take off your safari hat?
Totally did.
Oh man, I'm sorry that happened to you, dude. Is
I was
okay, though?
shocked, bro. I mean, I'm sure everyone watching this, I mean, it's the booty hole heard across the world. No question.
By Steve Hudson.
And here's the thing. Which one was a bigger deal? Oh, this is a great question. Dan.
Yes, sir.
Which one do you think is a bigger deal? Oh, you know what? That's not even close. But it's still the same thing. Was Janet Jackson's nipple a bigger deal than this booty hole on screen?
To conservative America? Yes, I believe so.
I don't understand how.
But I don't think that this I don't think this butthole's going to just escape. I'm pretty sure someone's going to be talking about this butthole.
I bet you there is right
That's what
now.
she said. Oh, I got it. I stuck the
Nice.
landing on that one.
I think there is, I guarantee there's a conservative website going crazy right now over this scene.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry. I don't know if we're just being stupid today or not. It feels kind of like, it feels good, but it feels like we are. So I'm hoping that you're tolerating the show okay, because I'm having a fucking blast myself.
Well, I think it's also, I don't know. We've been working pretty crazy this week. Your week has been crazy. Mine's been crazy. This is almost like a release.
It's like the end of the year at school when
Yes.
the teachers aren't doing anything anymore.
Yep.
People are acting a little kooky. We're
Totally.
acting kooky right now.
Yes,
That's all.
totally. This is, okay, please write in or send a voicemail. How shocked were you when this showed up on screen, and did you cover your children's eyes and rush them upstairs? Why would
And
your
then
kids
part
be
2
watching
is, why are they even watching Preacher?
Yes,
Exactly.
that's true. That's very good.
There's buttholes hanging from the ceiling.
That was crazy.
Hey, I don't want to go off on another tangent, and I'm totally going to, but I'm going to stop. I won't let you answer. But if you watch The Good Place, they have buttholes too. Butthole spiders. There, that's all I'm saying.
I haven't caught up on The Good Place. I've only gotten to season 2 or 2.5.
I always say, if you're going to watch The Good Place, watch it for the butthole spiders.
Wow. Now you have me curious.
They're butthole spiders.
Is that true, or are you joking?
There is reference to butthole spiders. That's all I'm giving you.
That's hilarious.
All right, guys, sorry, back to it. So when Jesse gets free, they both hear that gassy fart sound. And I know I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, but I'm just making sure I'm not missing something. They look up, they see his rectum hanging, and remember that soul vial? Well, we talked about that on the last episode because it is up his boot hole, if you will. What are you doing over there? Are you tumbling around? What are you doing? You doing somersaults, buddy?
No, I actually muted the microphone so that Mike couldn't hear it. You only could. I'm tightening a screw on my chair.
Okay, all right.
Because you were talking, so I was like, oh, let me tighten this.
Steve's building a house.
I really am. I
show.
feel like a handyman right now.
He's a multitasker.
I feel manly, G. I really do. Like, I felt that the thing was loose, and I'm like, no worries. Everybody just calm down. And I tightened it. So, I feel like alpha. But go on, please.
The soul file falls. It doesn't really, well, it falls eventually, but it kind of slides out of the Allfather's butthole, literally.
So nasty.
And it falls to the ground. So the vials are made of
nasty.
solid plastic. But this is even nastier to me, Steve. So Star and Jesse, they start fighting. They're not really fighting. They're scurrying around in the guts and everything. And they're all bloody. Star ruins another suit. And but what ended up, and it's funny because it's all going on to Joy to the World in the background. And after some slipping and some sliding, a little bit of fighting, an attempt to strangle Star with Allfather's colon, because you do those kind of things. Again, Jesse is a guy that just, he's got ingenuity, you know what I mean? Jesse gets a hold of that vial, and he swallows the soul. He doesn't even take the time to see if there's any... Yes, dude. So someone's getting treated at the urgent care for E. coli. As they get to their feet, Star switches gears again, and he's telling, "Bravo, Messiah, we did it." And you can hear like he's trying to, like, please let this work. But of course it doesn't work. Jesse uses the word on him because he's got it back now. And it does it for it's been a long time since he's effectively used it.
It sounds better now.
Yeah, it sounds like it's supposed to sound.
Like, have you know, now, and maybe it's always happened like this, but when he used the word, did everything shake before?
I think it did, yeah. He did. I'm pretty sure
that.
Jesse tells him, "On your knees," and Star
to
drops.
Test it out. Because let me tell you something. Jesse likes Hair Star. Or, like we said before, he is a man of his word. He said, "I will not use it against you." He already has. But he knew he meant, you're not going to do something to kill me. And Jesse upheld his bargain. Because during the scenes to come, Hair Star said a lot of things to Jesse where Jesse would have been like, you know what? jump out this window. He was really like forceful. You can't do this. This is not the way we're going to do it. And Jesse just tolerated Hairstar. He was fine. He was like, whatever.
Bear in mind, though, the
What?
first time that he thought that he got it back at Grandma's house, he did tell him to eat his own dick.
He did, but after that, they made an agreement.
I'm not going to tell you to eat your own dick anymore, buddy. Get over here.
Yeah, it's almost
You
like
little
he
dickheaded
likes him.
weirdo.
It is. It does look strange, but I think he likes him. I think he likes Hairstar.
What is it? Respect among criminals, or what is that saying? You know, respect among thieves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just you're an outlaw,
Honor.
dude. You're crazy. Yeah. I can dig that, but I still don't like you. I think that's what it is. It's just this respect among thieves kind of thing. He looks down at Star's head because remember he's on his knees, and he tells him, "Your head looks like a dick." And Star says, "So I've been told." Jesse tells Star, "I think we're done," and Star says, "Just the apocalypse." And we see Humperdew has found himself. He found a little corner, Steve, and he's just pulling away, tugging away at the little guy, and he's making horsey noises in the corner. So Tyson Ritter, good job on the horsey noises, buddy.
Wow.
I don't do that, but that's another story. So Star tells Jesse, left on our own, we'll have to stop this. Okay, guys, hold it really quick. I'm going to go back to this in a second. But I did do this as an audio clip. It's a little long. So, Steve, what I was thinking that we can do on this one, because I didn't realize how long it actually was, it's when Star goes off and he's talking about the All-Father's mission. And it's pretty wordy. You know what I mean? So, yes, you could have just went with, and this is what he tells him. He tells him about the mission. But we're going to go ahead and play it anyway right now.
All-Father and the Grail have infiltrated all the nuclear weapons states. Their agents wait, poised, ready to loose their nuclear arsenals upon the world. Once they receive
the signal.
The signal.
Give me that old soft shoe, I said that old soft shoe, a 1.
2,000 years after the Romans nailed his only begotten son to a cross, the Grail, protectors of the bloodline, will roll out Jesus' direct descendant.
Enable missiles. 1 enable. 2 enable. 3 enable.
I don't know if you caught that or not, so I paused it for a second. They're in the war room or whatever, if you will, and when Hoover says, "A 1, a 2," they're like first missile, second missile, or something like that. Did you catch that?
Oh, I didn't. That's pretty clever.
I don't know if that's just a weird coincidence.
It might be a good coincidence though,
because it is the signal.
And mind you, during this thing, I'm saying this makes no sense, and then Preacher echoes the sentiment. Like this whole story, we're like, what? Why would the what? What the crap? And then randomly, I love how Kevin Hooks did this. He's like, in America's mind, the apocalypse is a cop car exploding. Oh my goodness, the cop car is exploding. I loved that. In America's mind, that's as good. Oh my goodness, that's as bad as it gets.
That's
Look
the
at
apocalypse.
That. The cop car is exploding. And I love how this whole sequence makes zero sense. It's just a series of different scenes. And then after it's all done, I love how Preacher is like, that is the most ridiculous plan I've ever heard.
Right. Yeah. I mean, in truth, I could play the whole thing, you guys, but it is quite long. And what I was thinking about doing is because it's actually not that much that Star says. It's just spread out over a bunch of scenes. So I was going to cut it up. And I quite honestly, you know what, guys, I had to go back to work. I had to go get some clothes. Didn't have time to do it. So you'll get over it. It's basically the Star explaining the All-Father's mission. And that he's a lunatic, which he says so. Jesse tells him that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, or something like that, like Steve said. And he's like, yeah, well, the All-Father is a lunatic. How's that chair coming, buddy?
I'm done. I've been done. I'm just sitting there listening.
I'm just asking how the chair was.
Okay,
man.
it's perfectly fine.
More comfortable?
Yes, I'm literally reclined with my head on the headrest with the mic in my face.
So you guys, Steve got a brand new, what is it called, a captain's chair or something like that?
It's an ergonomic chair.
An ergonomic chair. It's got a headrest and everything. You could like literally put your head back in there and like roll around. Like,
period.
It looks like Captain Kirk's chair is what it looks
Pretty
like.
Pretty much. It's I
nice
put
chair.
it together. I put it together.
So if you hear like a we know what happened. Because
totally.
Steve's tool skills are just like my tool skills, apparently.
Oh, stop it. But yeah, like this, I thought that they were going somewhere that I was missing. But yeah, he purposely just put a bunch of random scenes together.
It's like propaganda video.
Yes, randomly squashed together. And the plan makes no sense because they're saying they're going to see him tap dancing and everyone's going to fall in line. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and pardon the sounds, but he's making them on the same thing that you're saying, Steve. They're expecting a tap dancing moron, as it's called, who's going,
yep.
Like people are just going to drop everything they do. And I liked how they did the symbolism of all of a sudden most of the people are wearing halos.
Totally. They've decided. And the people that aren't have these weird evil faces.
They have little skull faces.
In the time that everyone's paying attention to them, they're deciding their fate. We're going to detonate these bombs everywhere. And then after it, you're like, wait. And Preacher just looks at it and was like, that is the most ridiculous plan I've ever heard. Because he knows it's an That's when he realized, and he says what we're thinking. He says, oh, you're just as crazy as the Alpha. Like, you believe this stuff too. Holy cow. He thought he was some clever mastermind. And he's like, oh no, you think we need a Messiah just like he does? Crap.
Yeah, well, he is batshit crazy because he's like, well, you can't kill everyone, but you can just take out the undesirables.
Exactly. He thought, I think in the back of Preacher's mind, he thought once he killed Allfather, that Hairstar would be like, all right, cool, let's go our separate ways. No.
I'm going back to Blockbuster.
Yes. He thought he'd be just normal. Nope. And unfortunately, Preacher realized, oh, you're as crazy as he was.
Curses, Blockbuster is no longer in business. Back to this killing. Yeah, but he tells him that. He says, you just kill the undesirables like hipsters, Presbyterians, trade unionists, and then he says, and the Danes. I thought that was kind of. I like the Danes, man. They're all right. They're good people. So yes, so when Jesse tells him that he's a lunatic and I'm not doing this shit for you because you're crazy, Star goes with, well, fine, then I'll just go to the backup plan, and he's referring to Humperdew, and you hear him going in the background. Jesse tells him that he can't let this happen, and Star says that there's really not much that he can do about it except take his place. And Jesse goes, well, fine, I'll get rid of him. Star mentions to Jesse that he's read his file, and he knows for a fact that he won't kill Humperdew because he's not a murderer. But when he looks around, and Jesse kind of just looks up like, do you see what happened in this room? And he's like, well, not that type of a murderer. Jesse grabs a gun and fell to the floor, and Star tells Jesse to be reasonable because although Humperdew is a moron, he's also the 17th generation progeny of Christ himself. That the Grail needs a Messiah, and it's their entire business model is what's going on. He's like, don't take my job away from me, man. I won't have anything to do. Jesse uses the word on Star and tells him, stop! I forgot my echo, sorry. And tells Star that he's sorry, but he's going to need a new business.
Well, my thing is, another thing, during the cut scenes of this huge plan, Humperdew doesn't look like Humperdew. He looks normal tap dancing. So in this theory, he looks totally normal. He doesn't have the weird eyes and stuff. Yeah. Yep. He doesn't have the weird eyes and everything. So I'm like, oh, in this perfect thing, he's a normal person tap dancing, but even that's crazy. Even if he was a normal person tap dancing, that doesn't make it okay. That's crazy. It was so good. That's why.
If there's one thing that I've learned in recent times is that you don't go with the celebrity on TV to follow. You know what I'm saying?
Listen. Listen. Especially the racist celebrity.
I like to trigger him, guys. I'm sorry.
Don't get me started, G.
I'm sorry.
Seriously. Man. I mean, I really, this is why this is such a good episode. It's the little things. I learned so much about Hairstar in the space where he says, well, no, we kind of still need a Messiah. Everything illuminated in my brain for him. I said, daggone it, he believes this bullcrap too. And then I like the episode because Preacher says what I'm thinking. He says, ridiculous plan. Then he says, oh no, you're just as crazy as the Allfather. I said, I was thinking that. I was thinking it and you said it. It's like, that's good writing. Where now Jesse is in the place of the audience. Through this whole episode, he is the audience member, where he's looking at it and is like, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by crazy people.
What is this lunacy?
Yes, it's not like, oh, this is normal in Preacher Land. No, he's looking around like, what am I doing here? This is insane. What? Yeah, it was really good. And then even his interaction we're about to see with Humperdew, in my brain, his face is feeling the way I'm feeling. His face is showing how I'm feeling. But I'll let you go ahead and get into it.
All right. We're not quite there yet, but we'll come back to it. Because right now we're going to talk a little bit more about that hell shuttle. We see that hell shuttle. It's en route. It's driving through the hell fog. And Tulip is thinking of a way, like an escape plan, really. She's trying to figure out a way to get out of this because she is Tulip. She tries to unlock the emergency exit, but she's not doing very well with that. And Eugene tells her, I still can't believe it, running into you like this. Tulip's like, yeah, great. And she's still trying to struggle with this lock. And Hitler's just watching in silence. Eugene says, so you're going to hell, huh? Tulip says, not if I can help it. And she gives up on the lock for a little bit to set, and talk to Eugene. Eugene tells her, I always heard you like to fight. This is kind of funny to me. He says, I always heard you like to fight and curse and were promiscuous, but I guess I didn't realize things had gotten so far out of hand. He's so concerned. He's so innocent too. You know what I mean?
That's what
even the guy's been to hell and he's still innocent.
I love that Tulip, instead of being mad at him for yelling her name, she likes Eugene and she understands Eugene meant nothing by it. She's not going to be mean to him. She's just like, look, what are you going to do? She didn't mean anything by it.
And when it all comes down to it, she got herself into that situation.
Exactly. And a lot of shows would have been like, you idiot. But no, that's not Tulip. Tulip, they're showing the heart of Tulip more and more. More and more, they're showing that she is not this tough, rugged, nothing matters except Jesse person. Like, she genuinely cares about Eugene. No question. I love this.
Do you think that's what it is? Do you think she genuinely cares about him? Or do you think she's just genuinely trying not to be like a model for the O'Hare curse?
No, I think she cares, because otherwise they would make Tulip say, well, I guess I got to deal with you now. She hasn't said nothing like that. She is just like, we need to get out of here. We do. She's not thinking of just Tulip. She's saying, we need to get out of here. Here's how we're going to do this. Because she could get out by herself. She doesn't need, there's nothing that Eugene does that helps her. She's like, you're coming with me. We're going to get out of here.
He kind of gives her an idea a little bit. We'll talk about that in, I think next, if I'm not mistaken. No, not yet, but.
Yeah. He's
the one that, she comes up with the plan, but he gives her an idea and she runs with it. One of them anyway. Okay. Don't worry about it. I got you covered. We'll talk about
let me know.
So Tulip tells him that it's all a mistake and she's not supposed to be going to hell. And Eugene's like, oh my gosh, me too. So Tulip starts to break the lock again. And she tells Eugene that the only place she is going is off this damn bus. Just then the lock breaks, but it doesn't break the way she wants it to. And part of it falls to the floor. And this catches the attention of the Saint of Killers, who's been backseat. He's just been in the backseat, just chilling with his hat down, but he looks up kind of all scary and shit. And Hitler chimes in that he's not surprised because he drove this express. He was I think I heard this correctly. I think he said that he drove the express for years and no one ever got off that bus. Not without help anyway. So Hitler's been down there for a number of years. At one point he was a janitor, and I guess he's a bus driver too. So he's been all around. He must be a good prisoner, except for the whole escaping part. Eugene tells Hitler that they don't want his help, and Hitler tells him that he's only trying to make conversation, and Eugene shuts him down again and tells him that they don't want to converse with him, and that silence is golden. Hitler tells him to be quiet, though, not to wake the Saint, because, that's a bad thing, but he's already awake, and he stands up and he starts to walk towards the front of the bus. And as he gets to Hitler, Hitler's just telling him, I was just trying to tell her to behave herself. And the Saint doesn't even pay attention. He looks at Tulip real quick and walks right past her. He actually goes, what he's doing is he's going to go sit and chill with the Angel of Death.
Again, at this moment, I'm saying he is there for no reason until, this whole time I'm like, why are we still dealing with Hitler? Hitler, technically. Why are we still dealing with him? Why is he even here? He makes no point in this story arc until later. But now I'm wondering, is that the only reason they had him here? Is because of what happens? Yes, dude.
Yeah, that we'll talk about that one, man.
Is that the only reason? And that rubs me wrong too.
It was a little weird for me too, and I want to talk about it with you, but I have a feeling that we'll go way off on it because I've got some things to say. I have questions. I don't know what's up with Rick, but we'll get to Rick in a little bit.
Yeah, it especially now I don't like it. Right now, these days, I didn't like, but we'll get to it.
You mean from a political standpoint?
Yes, I don't like that visual.
Like giving him the okay.
Yes,
I know what you're getting at.
I don't like it. I'm surprised I might be the only one that said anything about it. No,
you don't like buttholes. You don't like Nazis. What's wrong with you, man?
First of all,
You're like, I do like them buttholes, though. I'm just kidding.
With vials in them. Only with soul vials in them.
Back to the show, guys. Sorry, we're just babbling like crazy today. Thank you for so much. If you're still on board, thank you so much for hanging out. So anyway, like I said, the Angel of Death now gets a visitor because he's chilling now with a Saint of Killers. And she does a little something that I thought was a little nice. I mean, she is, in fact, the Angel of Death, right?
Yeah.
And she tells him, she's like, how's your back? Like, it wasn't like, how's your back? Like, she's like, how's your back? Like, it was very, like she cared almost for just a second. He doesn't say anything, of course, but I just found that a little odd, the way she asked him that. There wasn't even any of that weird voice in it or anything either.
I think that she was just, I didn't see it as being caring at all. I think either was making conversation or kind of teasing him about it.
Maybe so. It would make more sense.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of, to me, it didn't sound like there was a lot of sarcasm in her voice. It was just kind of like, how's your back?
Oh, yeah.
Fine,
I saw
you
it
bitch.
as,
it's fine. Now that you've stripped me of spine, yeah, it's fine. Thank you.
Yes. I saw it as
bringing up old
how's
shit.
Your back? Like, how's your back?
You're probably right.
She doesn't have smiling sarcasm. She's just like biting. She's a biting, no sarcasm having purpose. Like, how's your back? Like, you remember when I did that joke to you?
Like, just completely void of any kind of, okay, yeah. I could go with that. Sounds good to me. She is the Angel of Death. We'll give her that. So back in the bus, the three of those guys, Hitler, Tulip, and Eugene, are still trying to figure this out. Hitler just wants everybody to be quiet. He tells her, he says, sit tight. Tulip says, I don't sit tight. Sitting tight is not an option. And then we flash back over to Jody and Featherstone. And we were talking about this earlier. So they're driving back to Angelville in Jody's truck. Jody tells Featherstone, Tulip saved your ass back there. And Featherstone says that she was doing just fine on her own and that Tulip would have ended up in hell eventually. And Jody just goes, man, you a bitch. Featherstone's like, what are you, a Boy Scout?
Featherstone tried to convince herself. That's what she was doing. She's like, she would have ended up in hell anywhere. But you could tell by her face, I now owe somebody something. She owes her.
She's a little bit got that survivor's guilt.
Yep. She now owes her, and I guarantee she's going to repay that. Now, if by some freaking nature, I'm not going to even speak it into existence, Featherstone's staying forever.
Don't speak it into existence, sir.
Not, because
I knew where you were going.
if something does happen, it's going to be because that happened. Like she's trying to protect Tulip, and that's how it happens. But I will not speak it into existence.
Don't. But
I smell it. I do smell it, though.
I do smell something cooking. I hope not, though. I really hope that we keep.
Oh, I know. Friend of the show is going to be on the show forever.
But I'm not even going to speak that into existence. So let's move along because we are in bad territory now. We got bad juju flowing through our veins.
Yep.
So Featherstone asks Jody what Grandma's going to do after she eats all these souls. And I found this is interesting because Jody looks at her and he gets this little grin, just starts to crack. But before he's able to tell her or, execute the fool, whatever he was about to do, they strike some kind of an animal. And they get out to look at the front of this thing. And it confused me because I thought I saw feathers floating to the ground. But Featherstone says something like, is that a hoof or a paw? Or, I don't know what the hell they hit. They never show it. But there's something stuck in the front of his truck.
What do you think that was, dude?
That's what I'm saying. I have no idea because I thought I saw feathers. But was it just fur? She's talking about a hoof or a paw. I don't think anyone knows what it is because he hit that thing so hard it just like completely obliterated it and got all stuck in his grill.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the crap that might have been. Because remember, what happens later, that wasn't just an animal he hit. Something happened or do you think that he's just held up there trying to fix something? Like
it's just as simple as that?
Yeah.
It's really hard to tell, man, because they always end up coming back around. And again, he was getting ready to tell her something. The scene got cut short intentionally. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, because he was looking like, what the crap is this?
Yeah, I don't know. I really have no idea what that is. I do know, though, that whatever it was that was in the grill was going to take a long time to take it out. That's what he tells Featherstone. Featherstone tells him, you got the souls? I'm out. Hairstar doesn't do well for long stretches without me. And she just dips.
I love that she said, I'm out.
Featherstone's got them lines, man.
Like, I wonder if that was in the script or did she be like, I'm out? Because that is a very ill statement. Like, if she's like, I'm out, I'm like, who you be kicking with at night? I'm out.
She's hanging with Malcolm, dude.
Malcolm, verbal to rapper. That's what's happening.
All right, guys, back to Meemaw's house. So now we're in Meemaw's house, and Cass, it's so ridiculous. Meemaw. I'm sorry, it is. But anyway, Cass gets, not Meemaw the name, but just the fact that all these people are in Meemaw's basement is still the most ridiculous thing ever. But Cass gets out of his coffin and he goes to the Les Enfants du Sang to try and warn them. They're all hanging out in another room. Cass tells them that they all have to leave, but no one's budging. They're all just kind of looking at him weird. And so he's like, what? And this is where Kevin tells him, you killed Hoover. And Cass says it's quite the opposite, that Icarius was in fact the one that killed Lisa and the others. And he goes on and on. He stops mid-speech because he realizes that Icarius is standing behind him, which of course he was.
I love that he was like, why? Why are you guys looking at me so crazy? And he's like, oh, he did the whole thing.
The whole
he's standing behind me, isn't he?
Thing.
Yeah, and I think it was funny because it's Cass doing it. Any other show, I would have been like, really? But since Cass does it, I'm shocked that they actually wrote that line. I'm shocked that they did. They like let them do it because I think I would have thought one of the editors would be like, do we really? Is that the one we wanted to do? We want to do that thing?
I think they got that one on a classic joke technicality.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're saying, it is Joseph. Let's let him do it.
Fine, let him go.
Let's go. Yeah. We got to get out of here, man. It's time to eat. That's what they're saying. So Icarius starts telling Les Enfants du Sang about some bullshit that, Cass was the one that is the bad guy. And he's like bringing up all these things about how, he's a junkie and he's disrespectful junkie at that. And he reminds him of the time that he insulted all of them when he first got there. He's winning these people over, though he never really lost them in the first place. He tells them that, example needs to be made of Cassidy. And then we skip back and we're back in the hell shuttle again, Steve. Any comments before I continue, sir?
No, unfortunately, I love Cassidy, but these scenes were the weakest link.
Agreed.
Yeah, I love Cassidy normally, but I think when everything else is running at a level that's super high, it's now very hard to make the Icarius Cassidy, situation very fun when everything else is just rolling. Right. I mean, it's moving, and then you cut back and they're like, anyway. So about our relationship, you're like, okay, G, I don't.
Back at the ranch,
yeah, exactly. I don't want to hear it. That's why you see how quick they made that grandma scene. Yeah, that quick because they're like, look, we're moving.
We got to start closing these things out.
Yeah,
now.
We're jamming.
Yeah, and I don't even mean any like bad blood about it or to sound negative. It's just, but what I'm about to say is that I am over the whole Hitler thing. I was over that a while ago.
Yes.
But whatever. I get it. It's your show. Keep it in. But I'm also over Icarius and Les Enfants du Sang at this point. It's time to move forward.
Dude. And the thing is, we were down with it because everything else was kind of moving slowly. But in the...
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, everything else was moving. So I remember Cat Williams said, a Chrysler 300 looks like a Bentley until that mug pulls up on a Bentley. Right. And you're like, oh, they look different. Yep. This looked like a really cool storyline until it pulled up on a really cool storyline. Then it's like, okay, it's not that fun. Everything else is so fun.
It's like when you're the hottest dude in class until that one dude shows up.
I never knew that. I think I was that one dude.
And then I was the other, sir, because it's been the story of my life.
Oh, come on.
I'm just playing, man. Don't take me out seriously, dude. Music. Stop it. I'm just playing around, man. I'm not touching.
Then again, never mind, because you've been married since grade school. So I guess that...
I took myself out of the game a long time ago.
Jeez, you took yourself out of El Game.
I obtained matrimony when you could watch a movie for 25 cents all day long and go to the apothecary and have an egg cream.
Paper here. Come get your papers.
How you doing, mister? You flip him a coin. Thanks, mister. He bites on the coin. All right.
Yep, a little Dan. What are you doing today? Well, sir, I'm getting married. Be like, yeah, you're taking yourself out the game. Earl E. This brother right here, man. So yeah, you didn't have to be the handsome guy from early on because you were married already. So you're like, well, I can just wear my suspenders and my top hat.
That's how it is. That's all I wear at home. Right now, I'm literally wearing suspenders and a top hat.
Of course, because you have no one to impress. I can't get away with that.
All right, guys. I promise we're going to get through this. As the shuttle gets closer to hell, Eugene is trying to convince Tulip that it's God's plan that they escape together. She's cool with it, whatever. She says she doesn't know about all that, but, it is what it is. She walks to the rear of the bus, and she does some real tulipy shit right here. She goes to the little panel that's separating the floor from the drive. I believe it's called the drive line, if I'm not mistaken. And she asked if anyone has a dime. And this is where Eugene finds that little piece of broken latch and he brings it over to her. And she's like, good, Eugene. He's like, see, God has a plan. Hitler soon joins them and he tells them that he doesn't like what's going on and they should all just chill. Everyone should just chill because Rick from Circuit Works is going to come and take care of this here. And I believe he told them that he was bringing his SS shot group, I think is what he said. Mm-hmm. And they'd be coming, soon, like the wolf in Pulp Fiction. Now, I can only imagine, Steve, that's why I put this in the note, because I wanted to point this out. And we were talking about the whole Nazi thing. I can only imagine the level of absurdity that's going to be coming with these fucking Nazis.
So ridiculous. I didn't think they were coming.
Yeah. I'm not going to get all political about it, but I can totally dig what you're saying. Kind of the wrong time to be doing the Nazi thing. But they have a story that they have to finish up. But I think that we're just in for some crazy absurdity with this. And we'll see where it goes.
For sure.
So when Tulip finally gets the hatch open, it reveals the driveline, like I was telling you. And Eugene asks if that's how they're going to be escaping, which was kind of a dumb question because you can't get past that. Tulip tells him not exactly. And this is where she asks to borrow a pen of Hitler, or a pin rather, sorry. One of his little, what do they call those things? The flare pins that are on his apron. Hitler's like, he looks like put off about it. He's like, but I've earned these. And Eugene just grabs one off of his apron. Now, up front in the bus, the Saint of Killers asks the Angel of Death about Tulip. He wants to know if Tulip is with the preacher and did she die alone. Sidney tells him that she didn't actually die at all, but Satan was the one that told her to grab her just off the street, just straight take her. And he asks about the rules, like, what about the rules here? Does that even make sense? And she tells him not to be a Pollyanna. Like, she's just throwing words out, dude. And that the deformed boy is also not dead. And she tells him that there are no more rules because it's the Wild West now and God is gone and all those rules don't apply. And the old rules didn't really make a difference because, of his wife and kid. That's
why I knew the back comment wasn't something of oh, I'm worried, because she's willing to do that his wife thing.
And he was like willing to let it go too. But then when she said that flashback stuff.
I don't think she was willing to let it go. He thought there were rules. And he's like, wait, the only people I take, they're supposed to be like the people that I take either there's a rule there and you're making me break certain rules. And he's a person that has a rule thing. He's like, I'm not going to just, take someone for no reason. Now, Preacher, he wants, but Tulip, he had no qualms with. He has no quarrel with technically Tulip. He's like, well, wait a minute.
She was just in the way.
Yes. And he's like, why did you send me to get her? So you're telling me to bring her before her time. Now, here's the dangerous thing that Death did. Right when she said it, I said, ooh, there it is. They have a deal. And if there are no rules, how does he know Satan will uphold her side of the deal? How can the Saint now trust that Satan will now uphold his side of the deal?
I don't think that he can. I don't think that he ever, in fact, did trust. But really, what's he going to do? He still has this mission in his head. He wants to get his family back. He wants his guns back, and he wants his family.
He knows now it's becoming to the point of, wait. I think it's either A, he's realizing that they're liars, or B, how many rules is he willing to break to get his fictional family back? If he can at all. I think there's going to be a level where the Saint is like, okay, this is a bridge too far. I think it will come, believe it or not. There's going to be a point where like, no, I'm not your lapdog anymore. I'm done. I am done. If my family's gone, they're gone. But I'm not doing this anymore. I want Preacher. The end.
Do you think they're going to end up like being allies?
No, because you can't ally with someone who wants Preacher.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't know. One never knows where the show's going.
I love what's happening right. But mind you, when I'm watching this scene, I'm on the edge of my seat and I kept on rewinding it back to see, what Saint is saying, how he's saying it. Does he trust? I'm like, but I'm just watching the same thing over again. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep on doing it. I don't care. As ridiculous as it is, I kept on watching this conversation and I can't help but believe that he's like, when she's like, he said, what about the rules? He said it in a way that the rules matter to him. Like, wait.
Yeah, like he still has a moral code.
Yes, there's a code here. And if you're willing to break it with them, what makes me think you're not going to screw me over? You already whipped my skin off my back. What else are you willing to do?
But when you're the Saint, though, I think all bets are off as far as any type of level of trust or love or anything.
Yes,
he is a killing machine that has his eye on the prize. You know?
And now they're just digging further down. Like, I think Death talks too much. She might want to reel back talking to Saint because the more you talk, you're going to say something that's going to make him be like, wait a minute, that's not what Satan said. Guaranteed.
I somehow don't see her making it out of season 3.
Oh, he's going to kill her.
Yeah, for sure.
He's putting a bullet in her head.
She's got a real interesting look about her. The actress that plays her, I don't know her name, and I'm just thinking about this
It's
on the
her
fly.
jaw.
Yeah, she's just got very, very chiseled like features, if you will. Not manly
She's like,
by any
I'm
means.
about to be mean. Okay,
Yeah.
who's that dude? She's pretty, which
She
is
is
why what
very
I'm about
pretty.
to say. She's very attractive, but she has the look like homeboy from Superman, the dude with the big jaw. She has that thing going.
You're talking about Zod?
Yes.
Oh, dude.
No, but you know what I'm saying?
You're
She
the
has
worst.
No, she has that long chin thing going.
She's like super attractive, but she's just kind of got that sloth from the Goonies thing going, and it's
No,
just,
but do
but in
you
an
see-
attractive way.
No, but do you see how they made her jaw like prominent?
I don't. Maybe that's what do they call it, contouring with makeup or something, or maybe she just has a prominent jaw.
Yes,
and
G.
she's been harassed her whole life about it, and now
Zod was a handsome guy.
Zod's a trip. That dude's trippy looking. We'll talk about him. I honestly, I want to stop talking about him because I just saw him in a movie where he was young, and it looks like, I can't remember the movie either, but it looks like age happened to him pretty good.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he's a handsome dude. She's a pretty girl, woman, attractive woman, and I think that she just has a prominent jaw. But the thing is, they cast her because she looked interesting.
She's got a very intimidating look about her. If I was a woman, I would be afraid of her. And she's like super tall too.
Do you think so, or I don't think?
Or
she's
maybe
super
I
tall.
don't know how
Tulip's
tall.
little. Tulip's short.
She looked pretty tall in comparison to Julianne Emery too. I don't know. I always have to say her full name.
Julianne is 5'4".
She's 5'4". Okay, so I would say that this one's
Not
probably,
that I've been looking up her information.
I would guess she's probably 5'10", 5'9", 5'10". She's tall.
That's your
she
height.
looked-
That's about.
in,
So she's like tall as you.
in comparison to them, she seemed tall.
Okay, that's totally fair.
All right,
I wonder how tall Graham McTavish is in real life.
he's like Stallone. No, I don't know how tall he is. He's probably a tall guy.
You think so?
Maybe. I don't know. We can look it up. You Google that, sir, while I'm
All right,
doing
go
this next
forward.
part.
We're moving forward.
You'll have some time. I'll give it to you right now.
Got
So
it.
in the back of the bus, guys,
How tall is Graham McTavish? Go ahead.
I'm trying to, but you're talking, and no, I'm just kidding. so what a show.
People that have to read out loud.
No. How tall is Graham Mc? Oh, is that a lower C or a regular C?
Oh, he's 6'2".
Okay, I'll buy that.
Big fella.
He is a big fella. What are you? You're 6 feet, right?
Yes.
He's a big guy. Big guy. Steve's a big guy,
Here's the
ladies and
thing.
gentlemen.
Here's the thing. This bus scene is firing on all cylinders for me. I'm interested to see how other people like it, though.
Are you referring to her plan?
Dude, that little animation they did,
Yeah, that was
I
cool.
almost had to push pause and be like, Preacher's on another level. It's over. It's over. Preacher is working at a different... Kevin Hooks directed his tail off. Kevin Hooks did his thing on this episode. That little animation could have been so corny. Because they're and when she had to explain... This is after. But there's a part where she has to explain to Eugene how to leave, how to dip out of... I was like, this episode is working.
This is actually what I'm going to play right now.
Go for it.
All right, here we go, guys. This is Tulip's plan to escape from the bus. And it was a pretty solid plan. We'll see what happens, but it was a pretty solid plan. At the very least, you can say, again, she's got Jesse's ingenuity, or Jesse has her ingenuity, or maybe that's why they're together. Here we go.
Cuss will anchor the chain so we can catch on the flange yoke where the U-joint meets the differential. Once the U-joint jams, then the crown gear will seize, and either one or both of the axles are gonna lock. You're gonna hear this big, loud screech, and the whole of the back of the bus is gonna start fishtailing. We might even flip. And once we're stopped, we're gonna have long enough to make a run for it. That's it.
Oh, this stuff.
Foster care. Brace yourself.
Foster care. Brace yourself.
Here's the funny part. Tulip thought that this supernatural bus was going to act the same way as a normal car.
Tulip, it's a supernatural bus, you silly goose.
It was, but the thing is, here's the dope part. I have to imagine that this bus as supernatural as it is, gave the illusion of being normal just to screw with Tulip. Add an axle and everything. There's no point in an axe or that drive line being there. It could just be nothing under the bus. But they're like, nah, let's make it look real.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that one, dude, because in reality, that's how a car works. I'm not trying to sound like a smartass. I'm just saying.
No, but I'm saying, but a car doesn't work like that if it doesn't have to. It's going to hell. Why does it have to work like that?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, technically, it could just be floating. And everything.
Yes, it could just be floating, but it has all the working parts just to why.
And again, it's not critique, but I have questions about this whole hell bus thing. I'm not ready to ask them yet, but I do have questions.
Yes.
And again, it's probably just me just being a dick and like looking too far into it. But I have questions, and I'll get to it.
Yes. All right.
So I hate to tell you this, guys, but Tulip's plan failed. It didn't work. The thing just falls right out. She's very frustrated about this. It was kind of funny, but I felt for her because it was actually a cool plan. Would have been cool if it would have executed and done close to what it does eventually.
Yes. And Death looks back like, like she's not the first one to try that.
All right. Oh, God. Here we go again. Put the panel back on, you jackass.
So funny.
Back at the Grail headquarters, Jesse moves in to kill Humperdew, and these two guards attempt to apprehend him, but he just uses the word on him, and he tells them, I forget what he says. I think he says like, freeze, stop, some shit like that. Now, I want to talk about this part real quick because, in my opinion, I asked them off mic if they were there for this scene, just because I think that if it was me, I'd be laughing my ass off. I have to do several takes about this. But what happens is, he goes into the little chamber where Humperdew's chilling, and they have this long stare with each other. Now, I'm just trying to get you to look at this from Dominic Cooper's perspective. So you've got Tyson Ritter, who's staring you and going, Humperdew, and saying all these weird things. And he's got that fake eye in, and
that's weird.
Just like, I know I personally would have laughed my ass off. Oh, stop, dude. Hold on. Take two. You know what I mean? And I was just curious, but they weren't there for that. So my story goes nowhere. But I would have been laughing.
I had a different reaction to this scene.
How so?
I thought it was heartbreaking. I think my heart broke for Humperdew, and I think the same thing happened with Preacher. He saw him as because even when there's a part where he's about to leave and Humperdew's like, wait, I wanted company. I don't have anybody. And I was like, oh, that's why he couldn't shoot. He's like, this poor guy, he has no idea what these people are planning for him.
Yeah, he does kind of say I wanted company with so much of a,
Yes, he was like, where are you going? Like he like walked behind him out like toward the door. I think Preacher saw him as this poor soul that's just like, look, this guy doesn't deserve this.
You pathetic bastard, you. Yeah.
Yeah, because anybody else, if he was an evil person, not even evil, if he was like pointless, Preacher could have shot him. But he saw this innocence in him that he's just like, this guy, he's like a child. You guys are just doing this. And I saw that he saw that the explosions in his eyes.
I don't think that he actually saw them. I think it was more like symbolism of, like what you're saying. He's looking at this pathetic guy who's completely innocent and unaware of anything except how to jerk off and tap dance. Yes. But at the same time, he's like, okay, well, you are this pathetic person. But he sees that. It's like symbolism in his eyes. That's what I think he went with. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that he felt sorry for him, and which is why he does what he ends up doing.
I felt horrible. Like because they literally changed the tone. Even the music changed. They're like, we now want you to see Humperdew in a different way. We now want you to see what Preacher's seeing. I was just like, dude, this freaking show is showing you that this isn't just, they had made him such a tap dancing silly goose, but now they changed the tone of the whole thing. And you're like, oh, come on. You can't kill this guy. You can't do it, dude.
I don't want to watch. Do it off camera if you're going to do it.
Yeah, this is sad, dude.
It's Tyson Ritter. Leave him alone. But he ends up doing that. He leaves him alone. Jesse raises his gun to Humperdew. And like we were saying, all this works out in his head. This is what we think happened anyway. And he just leaves the room. And you're right. This is where Humperdew's like, and trying to follow him out. But he actually did take him, though, dude, when you think about it. I mean, I hear what you're saying. But now that I'm thinking about it and reading my notes, he does take him. Because what he does is he takes him out. He grabs, remember he had that robe on. Or like the cloak or whatever you want to call that. And he goes to the wall that has all of those jumpsuits on it, those dope jumpsuits, those tracksuits. And he grabs one for him and he comes back and he gives it to him.
And Star's so smart that he knows what he's planning on doing before he do. I did not know. I was like, what is he? What? What's happening right now? Oh, and it's just a genius ploy Because now you're never going to know which Humperdew is which.
Yeah, the old shuffle the which cup is the pee under.
You'll never know. You'll just never know. And I thought that it was dope to show how smart Hair Star was. Because he's like, don't do it. He knew. Oh, crap, this dude. I was like, oh, Hair Star's a smart. He knows. He knows what he's about to do. I had no clue until I saw all of them walking out. I did not know what Jesse was going to do. That's smart writing, bruh. That is smart freaking writing right there.
You know what? Give me one more thing to talk about, and then I want to talk about this a little bit. Is that cool?
Yeah. Go for
All
it.
right. So in the next scene, which is what we were just talking about, it's a complete deviance from the comic. Again, not a big deal, but I'm just pointing it out. Humperdew meets a different fate. And I kind of talked about it at the top of the show, but it has to do with the Allfather. So if you're interested in that, and you should anyway, read Preacher and you'll see what the difference is. And it's a pretty major difference, but like we've been talking about, nothing wrong with this one at all, in my opinion, and Steve's opinion. We see that all of the clones have now escaped at once, and they're roaming the city in Jesse's freedom. And one is immediately taken out by a car. Like, this is going to be it's going to end badly. And quite honestly, I'm not entirely sure if Humperdew's back. Or gone, rather, I should say. I think that we will see him come back one more time. What do you think about that? Do you think that is how it's going to be now, and they just sent all of these guys off into the city to just meet their fate, become homeless guys? You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's pretty sad, actually, when you think about it. It's just like turning a bunch of puppies loose.
I don't think so. I think it's very humane. He actually lets them have a life.
No, I hear what you're saying, but they are so messed up.
Oh, totally.
And you see that they're just walking in the streets like zombies, and boom, one gets taken out by a car. I see what you're saying. It's a humane thing because
wow, look at this. Like, they've never seen like freedom. They've just been lined up, exploding, and they're finally get out and be like, oh my gosh, look at the sun. Look at this. And they're just exploring this new world that they were never allowed to explore on their own. No one's expecting them to be a messiah. Sure, it's like in our brain, it's going to, they're going to be. They're not going to know what to do. I think in their brain, they're like, wow, I get to explore things and have fun. And now there's a bunch of, I can, walk up to people. And I thought it was so dope.
Another one dead.
Yeah, it's going to happen. But I loved how, Preacher was like, you know what? I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do something good for all. Because he could have just let Humperdew and like 4 others go, 5 others go, 6 others. He's like, all of you are free. Get out of here. Because I know he knows what Hair Star will do. If he keeps 100 of them, he's like, no. All of y'all go. I think it's just Preacher's work. I mean, dude, this is writing right here, man. This is writing.
You have to, we've said this a million times, but you have to update the story to make this work.
Totally.
And it's just fine. I like it. You've fleshed out 2-dimensional characters and given them this whole other, yes, some of them are very different, and Humperdew would be one of them, but you fleshed them out. You've given them a story now. And now, in this version, there are, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of Humperdews walking the earth. I would say probably hundreds.
And it was it's so fun because what I have to think of is Preacher is such a specific show that to get a director like Kevin Hooks to buy into this universe and direct a show is so cool, just like they did with Millicent. I think Miss Shelton or Miss Sheldon. I'm sorry, but
Shelton.
They bought into this world full-fledged and was able to put their stamp on it, because in order to direct this series, you have to buy in to this insane premise. And they bought in and just took it a place that I really enjoyed. I thought it was so touching that they made me care about Humperdew. The fact that I gave a crap what happens to him now and I'm wishing him the best, I would have never guessed it at the beginning of the season. Never. Ever, ever, ever would I have guessed that I would be rooting for Humperdew. Never.
You know what? If he's gone, I'm going to miss him. I liked Tyson. And when it's all said and done, I really liked his interpretation of it. So applause to you, sir. I hope you come back. We'll see. We're going to go back into Grail headquarters for a second. Jesse goes back in to Star, and he uses the word on him. And I think he tells him, like, relax. Star tells him he doesn't know what he's done, but Jesse says, look, like, I stopped 2 apocalypses. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm fucking Jesse Custer. I just stopped 2 apocalypses. And that's not exactly a bad day. He drops the rest of the Tom Brady cocktail to the floor and he smashes it at his feet for effect. And he lets Star know that Genesis is in fact his. So Star tells him, so we find that we are once again adversaries, Jesse Custer. And Jesse tells him that he has a date with an old lady. Star tells him to give her his love and He grabs another hat. That's what's insane. He's in this bloody ass room, and he says, "Give her my love," and he pulls out a cowboy hat, perfectly clean. Where is he getting the hat, Steve? I know it's a comic book. I know it's all for comedy, but that made me laugh. And so job well done, Preacher. It's just absurd, though, that he has these hats that he whips out like, magician handkerchiefs or something.
And mind you, it was dope that, again, Preacher we're seeing Preacher and Tulip at the same time finding heart. He could just break his word and make Hairstar kill himself. People matter to Preacher now. Probably always have, but with this power, I think that he's starting to be like, I can't just keep using this power to do whatever I want. I just can't. I need to make sure that whatever I mess up, I fix, or I just don't mess up what I don't have to. That hat thing was just a funny tinge. Be like, no more hats. That's a little thing. He could have been like, never leave this spot again. That's a game changer for Hairstar. He'll now starve to death. But he's like, you know what? Let me let him live, because he's not using this anymore to do bullcrap like he used to do. He sees what this power can do, and he's actually going to be a lot more careful, I think, with this gift he's given. He said, Genesis is mine. So now he's going to treat it right, I think.
You know what? I know we're running long here, but I think this is a decent question. So Jesse uses the word, I don't know what, maybe 3-4 times once he gets it back, right?
Yes.
And the word is essentially, now granted, I guess he can't do anything about it, but the word's essentially a beacon for the Saint Killer.
Yes.
So do you think because he's on a mission, because he asked the angel of death, was she with the preacher? We was talking about Tulip, was she with the preacher? So when Jesse's firing off all these words, do you think it's just like shocking him, kind of like, oh, there he is, I got to get back to him? Or do you think because he's working for Satan right now, it's just sort of like, let's just put a filter on it, you can't hear it right now?
I think it's one of those things where he's not paying attention, so he's not listening. I think if he was listening for it, he would know exactly where he is. But right now, he's concentrating on other things. That's, I think, that the only saving grace is that he's concentrating on other stuff. Now, now that he's going to be on grounded, as we're going to see a little bit later on, I think he will now go after the preacher, because I think he's going to break his deal with Satan.
Oh, he's coming. He's done. He's coming back for the preacher, dude. There's no.
Yeah, he's done with this. I think he's done. He's like, Satan's gonna be like, wait, you got to bring Tulip to me, remember? I think Satan's gonna be like, no. If she dies, I'll bring her, or if something happens, I'll bring her. But I'm not going to go out and be your lapdog. That lapdog crap really bugged him, as we'll see.
Yes.
Why? There's something to that does not rub him right.
Everybody has a breaking point.
Yeah. So okay, that's all.
Jesse turns around as he's leaving and he tells Star one more thing. He goes, one more thing. No more hats. And Jesse walks out like a G. Just bounces. As he's walking out of the Grail headquarters, though, he's unknowingly passed by Hoover. So Hoover's back, showed up. You got to give him a little bit of credit, because the man was a vampire and he shows up for work the next day. Mm-hmm. That's awesome, man. That's good. Good for you, Hoover. This was actually something that they both talked about on the interview, by the way, too. They laughed about that he's, such a good work ethic that he becomes a vampire and endures the race to go back and work for the Grail.
So funny.
And so now Jesse's out of the building and he's walking amongst the normal people, and walking in the city, like we were talking about, are all these Humperdoo clones. And one of them has found entertainment by turning in the door style, like a little kid just going back around and around in the door style. Now, I'm not entirely sure why he did this, but he uses the word, he tells everyone stop. And then, like, you hear cars crash and everything, but then he just walks out off the camera. Was there purpose for that? Am I missing something?
He wanted to see if it worked.
Oh, so he's just giving it a good
he's
test
like,
run.
Does this thing work? Because look.
Like on a big scale.
Yeah, do you really trust that you got the right file? I mean, do you really? So when he got it, he was like, yep, this is it.
He did that thing that people do when you go into like a place where there's like a heavy echo and you go, you know what I mean?
Bingo.
He was just making sure that it worked. Right.
Making sure it worked, and then he's like, it does, let's rock and roll.
Let's do this.
Because he's on his way to do something where it has to work. It can't be not working. It has to work. So he's making sure, before I do this, is it real?
I'll take it. I'm sold on that, man. That works for me. We're going back one more time, dude, to, I think it's one more time. No, actually, I think we're going to be there twice, but we are back at Mimas yet again. And, Icarius and Cassidy are still mad at each other. Let's just say that. But Cassidy finds it's been gone to like a whole new level because he's literally being crucified on the pool table that was in Grant Mima's house. Carius is taking these stakes that he had and he's using a croquet mallet to crucify him on this table. And I want to mention to you guys that in the comic, we talked about it last week. I think I even said it the week before. Cassidy, Blood and Whiskey. You do see what happens to Icarius here, and it's very similar to what he's doing to Cassidy right now. He in the comic, spoilers, guys. Sorry, I hope you don't mind. What Cassidy does is he takes Icarius and he crucifies him to a roof, and he allows the sun to go ahead and take him. In this one, it's the reverse, and that's what Icarius is doing to Cassidy. He tells him that it pains him that they have to go to this point, but there's no greater sin than to betray your own kind. Kevin opens up the drapes, and you find that it's very lackluster because the sun is only going to a very small portion of the room. And Cassidy tells him that's embarrassing. Kevin asks if they should just simply move Cassidy into the light, but he's told by Icarius to let the sun come to him because it's going to give Cassidy a little time to reflect on everything that he's been doing.
He's hoping he changes his mind.
Yeah, sit there and think about this, man. Last chance. Now, see, I'm getting back off the light thing again because in this one, he does put his hand, Icarius, I'm talking about, puts his hand into the sunbeam. Directly into light and is, of course, engulfed in flames. Just temporarily, of course. So I finally get to see that. Sorry, guys. Just my one thing all season. I'm sorry. Mima lets everyone know, though, because she's a good Mima, Steve, that she's going to make a lasagna. She's a sweet old lady.
Sure is.
And then we move back again in the rapid-fire scenes of Preacher. We move back to the shuttle one more time. Tulip and Eugene are still trying to work out this escape. Eugene comes up with an idea of making a bomb. He tells her, why don't we make a bomb? And Hitler's still wondering where the hell Rick is at this point. He's kind of off in his own thing. Now, this is the part that I wanted to talk about. How are they really going to get out of there? Because, like, they're on their way to hell. Like, we find out that this is accessible, is what I'm getting at a little bit later. But how are they expecting to get out of there if they're in a vortex of fog? So are they on Earth? Or are they like in this parallel thing? You know what I mean?
I think they must be on Earth because here's
of
my
Rick.
question. How did they, here's the thing I was wondering was, how did Hitler know where they were going and how to get there? And how to tell them directions?
Right. There's some holes in this, isn't there?
But you have to throw out logic when you're talking about a hell bus.
That's what I'm getting at. We're taking it a little bit too far. There are those holes that we will eventually find. To answer your question, even though I said it's not possible, I think he texted him remember when he texted Rick? He's like, they got Hitler. That's probably what it is. We're thinking way too much about this. And I know you're in agreement with that. But it's just weird. You know, like you see this funky fog tunnel thing and then things happen.
Yep.
So Eugene tells Hitler to shut up and that no one is coming to save him, and they just get back to business. And he suggests her to make a bomb. So what Tulip does is she comes up with a pretty cool idea. She decides that she's going to go ahead and go up to the front and create that bomb. And we'll find out what she does in just a second. Hitler says in German that this bitch is crazy, and Eugene's like, yeah, she's the best. Now, we do get a comic scene right here. We do get a small scene, and those of you that have read it know that there is a scene where we have Hairstar standing in front of a mirror, and the Grail are like having him try on different wigs. And I think they did this pretty good. I'll give them that. Star puts on this one wig, and it's got like big-ass mutton chops on it. And Featherstone tells him, fetching, sir. I especially enjoyed the one with the mutton chops. She's just all about this dude. So at this point, Hoover feels that it's best if he announces his current situation. So he tells them that it's his duty to inform them of a significant lifestyle change. He's a vampire now. But he wants to assure them that it's not going to affect his professionalism or his occupation. Good for him. Or his job performance is what he says. Good old Hoover, man.
And the thing is, like, as soon as he says it, Hairstar is just like, of course. Because he's dumb. Yeah,
that's right. He says vampire, and you literally see, thank you for bringing that back up. You literally see Featherstone's head like, what? Like turn around like you're a vampire, and Star doesn't even miss a beat. He's just staring at himself in that mirror.
He's like, of course. Why wouldn't you be?
Featherstone places a beetle-like wig on Hairstar. And what I mean by a beetle-like wig, I mean a wig like the old school Beatles, a bowl cut one. And Hoover tells her that he thinks it's on backwards, but it's totally not. He turns it around, and of course, it looks ridiculous. And then he goes after a couple of things like, no, I was wrong. Star loses his shit at this point. He takes the wig off and he yells, son of a whoring bitch. And I love it that the camera, it does that old school thing where the camera pans out.
It's so funny.
Through the roof of the building, through the clouds, and up into space, because that's how loud he yelled. It was fun.
We have never seen him lose his crap like this.
You know what, man? I really do think they're going to go for it. If we do get it, season 4, I think they're going to go for it. I think we're going to see him losing a lot more.
Yes, because now his plan that he had is spiraling.
Yes.
Like
he's
spiraling out of control. Like nothing is going right now.
And they've also, in a roundabout way, worked him into the character that he eventually becomes, where he is still a threat, but he's also a joke at the same time because all these things are happening to him, you know?
Yeah, we know that his plan was different. The reason we know this is because him and Jesse fought for the vial. And when Jesse gets the vial, he's like, oh, perfect, just what I wanted. And Jesse's like, then why did you fight me for it? This is not how you planned this out to be.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we know there was another plan in Hairstar's head that now is not going to happen. So now he has to formulate some brand new thing. And he is not in the mood to do this.
No, he's feeling way defeated.
Yes, it's a sucky situation for him.
Why did they quit Blockbuster? All right, so back on the bus in hell, or to hell, I should say, Tulip's still working this plan out. And what she does is, to get this bomb, she goes up to the front and she sits down next to Sydney. And she tells her, look, I'm going to need to go to the bathroom. Sydney says, go ahead. And Tulip's like, seriously? Sydney tells her that it wouldn't be the first time that anybody's like pissed himself on this bus. Tulip then asks her, would I be the first person to call you a dumbass leather skank? And Sydney informs her that she would be the first and the last person to do so.
So her first plan doesn't work.
Right. The whole driveline thing doesn't work. She goes up
I'm saying like her first plan was for death to be the bomb.
Well,
bomb.
I'm wondering about that.
Oh, for sure.
So you think that she just went to plan C then at that point?
Yes. She then goes to the other strong person in the building.
That makes perfect sense.
It did not phase death.
No, makes perfect sense.
Next. And the thing is, she also has to think, okay, death might go a little too far. She's like, you would be the last person to do that.
It's that whole death word that's kind of making me a little bit worried.
And so Tulip's like, okay, she might kill me.
Yeah.
Whereas he won't. He'll hurt me, but he won't kill me.
That's very possible, and you're probably right, dude. But the only reason that I was thinking is that I thought that she used Sydney, the Angel of Death, as just as a prop to be able to kind of like embarrass him amongst two women. But I could be completely wrong.
She would have gone straight to him then.
You're right. Yeah, she has no problem with that. You're right. So she gets real Tulip on him, and she's trying to egg the Saint on, and she tells him, like, he looks at her, and she's like, what? He looks away. She's like, yeah, you better look away. And at first I was like, that's so silly. But then I realized it's Tulip, and she's totally has a plan worked out. Mm-hmm. So she always somehow like redeems herself. She tells the Angel of Death that she's not afraid of the Saint anymore, at least since the preacher beat his sorry ass. She also tells him no wonder they made you errand boy after all that mess. He tells her he's no one's errand boy, and she suggests the title of bus rider babysitter. She says, that sounds like an errand boy to me, and she wonders why they didn't just make him Satan's ass wiper. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, my lips are failing me here, but yes, that's the one that got him. He wipes no asses, especially Satan's.
Satan he does not like.
Now, this got very Jody and Christina in the first episode kind of thing, because he walks up to Tulip on the bus and he like walks her back. Just like Jody walked back. I'm not saying they did this intentionally, but he does kind of walk her back. And he gives Tulip a big old smack. And she just runs, she gets thrown into that window right there. And it's exactly what she wanted to do.
Yes. She needed a crack in that window.
It was funny too, because Eugene tries to intervene with it. He's like, she's a good person. Or he says something and Saint's just like, move. He doesn't say move, but he goes, I think I'll just sit right back down again. So when the Saint goes back up, she looks over at Eugene and she's like, did it work? And Eugene tells her that she just built her bomb. One more shot at Mimaz, and as the sunlight is moving slowly towards Cassidy, he looks up and he finds Mima cleaning up after the Les Enfants Toussaint. This made a really like grandma comment too about how they want to take over the world, but they can't clean up after themselves. Yes. Yeah, Mimaz expressed all kinds of disappointment towards Cassidy, and I'm sorry I don't have the correct wording, but she basically tells him, and I'm making up these words, but that, she doesn't like him because he's like a lying son of a bitch or something like that. Cass asks her for a drink, and she brings him an energy drink. What was the significance of this, Steve? There's got to be something biblical, right?
And when Christ was crucified, the Bible says that he said while he was on the cross, he's like, I thirst. And someone brings him vinegar for him to drink.
I've got some vinegar. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, buddy.
A sponge of vinegar. And he drinks that. And that's what they're signifying. Kevin Hooks did a really good job of kind of making it a signifier. And then she starts to walk away, and he then asks, he's like, can I ask just one more favor? And I love how she's like, I'm not letting you go. Because that's what all of us were thinking. He's going to ask, let me go.
Come on, Mima, you're sweet. Take the stakes out.
But he's like, no, but you do have Lisa's phone number. And he's like, yeah. He's like, and she's, across the country. Can I call her? I was like, I don't know what this is shooting for, though. Maybe he's thinking that the phone will ring wherever her body's buried?
I was actually thinking about that, too. Because how does he even know that she has the phone?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe he's hoping that it rings. Someone's like, where's that ringing coming from? And they see the remnants.
Maybe. That way, at least they're like hip to it.
Yeah,
someone's hip to it.
That's the hope. But
your guess is as good as mine, dude. I'm not sure.
He has to guess someone's going to be walking by there. And I think it's a shot in the dark. When you're when you're being crucified, you're like, look.
I got nothing left to lose.
Here's what I would have done. I would have been like, I have to bet that Preacher has his power back. Can you give one call? He calls Preacher and says, Preacher, can you tell her to let me off? And he's like, get him down. I thought that was coming.
That would have been good.
I think Cassidy would have been like, I have to hope that Jesse accomplished. He did his Jesse thing and got his power back. Can you get her to get me down off this thing? That's what I thought the call was going to be for. That would have been so dope. Because he's going to be like, when it comes down to it, I know I can count on him. Because Jesse he would have just said, get him down.
That would have been good. I mean, but obviously it's all going to come to a head next week when they all get back together again. But that's clearly not what happened. But not bad. That would have worked.
Totally. And here's what I do know, and it makes me feel good. If Jesse knew or if Tulip knew what the situation with Cassidy was, everything else would be secondary. Even Grandma, I think. They would all be like, we need to save Cass. I believe so. Because if they're like, the sun's going to hit me in such and such hours, the only reason Tulip would be getting off that bus at this point would be to get Cassidy.
Yeah.
That's dope.
You know what? I'm sorry. I don't know I apologize if it seemed like I wasn't paying attention to you, but I just thought of something right now.
Go for it.
And I know we need to wrap this one up, but have you seen The Black Klansman yet?
No.
Okay. Well, in the movie, and there'll be no spoilers, but there is this one particular woman who is on the white supremacist side of things. And the dynamic that they show between her and her husband is a very sweet dynamic. They're talking some crazy shit, but it's very sweet. And it's totally meant to be this way, And she's the kind of person that when you show up at their house, she's got cookies for you. She's like super, super polite and everything. But she's down for the cause. And that's when and she ends up doing some really, really evil shit. But it's just this way that this person can kind of like switch that on and off like that. That's what it reminded me of Grandma a little bit. Excuse me, of Mima. Because, she's this really nice lady, but fuck you, Cassidy. You weren't down for the cause. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It just drew a similarity to me. And I was hoping that you saw the movie. But and by the way, see that movie, dude. It's so good.
Oh, I'm definitely going to. And also, we didn't know. We assumed before this that Mima did not know they were actually vampires for real.
Yeah, we thought that.
I know. Yes.
I just thought she was happy Mima. Yeah,
that's
she's
what
just
I
happy
thought.
Mima.
But when she was talking to him, she's like, all you vampires. I'm like, oh, snap. She knows. And she agrees with what they're doing. So I'm like, okay, well, we know that. So here's my thing. They made her understand that they're vampires. They put her on their side so that when they do kill her, we don't feel bad. Because they're going to kill her.
Maybe they promised her eternal life. If we can kick it over at Mima's house.
Yes, but when we have to not feel bad when Cassidy kills her, because he's going to. Bring
it on. Bring it on. I'm a sick guy that way. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this one up here pretty quick. So back on the bus, Tulip is now giving Eugene instructions. They're about to make their escape. And she's telling him how to, tuck and roll onto the grass shoulder. That's mysterious.
So cool. I love it. And I even love this animation. So cool.
More of that stick figure animation comes up. And during the tutorial, I'm saying tutorial because of the stupid stick figures, but during that, Hitler interrupts her and he pushes her aside and he just kicks the glass out. He's like, "Auf Wiedersehen, suckers!" And he tries to bounce. But at that moment, right at that moment, there's this huge explosion. And this is, I'm sure we're going to be talking about this a bit. Huge explosion sends the bus tumbling. And we get this very similar scene to, I don't know if anyone's seen Anchorman 2. There's probably two of you out there that have, but there's this part where they crash and they do this like very slow motion animated rolling scene. That's what it reminded me of. This causes everyone to just fly everywhere, and Tulip ends up landing on the floor of the bus, or I guess it would actually be the side of the bus, and she's like looking up. She's looking up.
Loved that little slow motion thing because of how Eugene looked. He just looked like he was lying down, looking normal at the camera, like, what is happening? Yeah. It's so good. But all of us were like, what the? Because remember, they said you created a bomb. And so when it went off, we're like, wait a minute.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Did she literally create a bomb? How did
she somehow know that if you jump out into a hell fog that it's going to cause an explosion? Yeah, I had no idea.
That's what they meant to do, though.
Because I was really under the impression that we were not going to get to where we go to right now. Whatever. It is what it is. I just didn't see it coming.
I hate it.
So as she's just getting her senses back and she's looking around, this tank pulls up. This Nazi tank pulls up alongside the bus. The cannon like aims at the bus. And then we see when she looks up, we see these Nazi soldiers that are looking down with her. And that's really all we see about that. So Rick and his, what do they call it, shock force or shock troops have made it through the hell fog somehow. I'm really dying to see where this goes.
Dude, why?
I got no answer for you, dude. I'm sorry.
Why? Why
won't Hitler just die and go away?
This is so ridiculous. There was a million different ways they could have ended this episode that didn't end with Nazis saving the day.
You know what? How much do you want to bet that these Nazis don't make it out? I think they're all going to die right then and there next.
That's fine, but they still got their moment of glory. When it all comes down to it, it's because of them they're free.
It's the whole absurdity of everything. I mean, at this point, yes, it's the timing is everything. But they had to close the story out. I mean, they had to do something with Hitler. And lots happened over the last year. You know what I mean?
And here's another thing. Here's the funny part. There's two things that I want to say right now, because this is the end, right?
Very close to it, yes.
Oh, okay, well, I'll wait till you to finish, then I'm going to bring something up.
Okay, all right. Want me to just wrap it up then?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, sir. So now we're back in Angelville, and we are dealing with TC and Grandma this time. TC's making Grandma's tea, and TC's just worried to shit. He's really worried. You can see it on his face, and he tells Grandma that, Jody hadn't come back yet, and neither has Jesse. And Grandma tells him that Jesse's coming back. He promised her, and she's not even really going to trip on it because she knows that he's coming back, and the main reason that she knows he's coming back is because he's intending to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that Jesse did in fact come back, because this is the last scene outside of the gates of Angelville. Jesse gets dropped off by these firefighters. I can't remember. Did he? Oh, he did. He tells him, he goes, back to work.
Yes.
And they all, I guess he just copped himself a fire truck and got him where he needed to go. They take off. Jesse lights the cigarette, and then he just starts walking down that long path to the plantation. Good. And the camera pans up, and we see that on the top of the gates archway is the Angelville star emblem that's hanging right there. And the screen goes black, and we are just about done, guys. That's it, man. That's the end of the episode.
Here's the thing. There's two things I want to say. Number one, three things. Number one, Grandma has a plan for Jesse. And I think it's something her and Satan did. Because now Jesse's bringing Genesis right to Satan. Just right to him.
Hey, did you happen to read that it was a Betty Buckley Q&A that AMC put out, and it's been all over Twitter, and it gives a little bit of insight to this version of Grandma's backstory? Did you happen to read that?
I did not.
Guys, if you go to amc.com, I believe that's where you're going to find it, but you can just search it on Twitter, which is, it popped up, and it's been popping up quite frequently. Being that the show's coming on tonight, I'm sure you'll see it. But yeah, she gives this whole in-depth, like she was a fan of the show before she even got on it.
Yeah.
So she did some serious research for that. And she ends up making this whole other backstory, how she used to be, Marie Langell was like the pretty, sorry, it sounds a little weird, but the prettiest woman in the land kind of thing. And she had an affair at a very young age. She had a sexual relationship with Satan. And it goes on and on from there. I mean, I'm not going to like just destroy her words, but I felt like, oh no, that is kind of, I mean, since you have to fill in a backstory for this particular version, it's pretty cool. I liked it, actually. So check it out. Betty Buckley. They always do those, by the way. They just send out these Q&As with the actors, and you'll find some interesting things in there sometime.
And you'll, the reason that I knew that she was a huge fan of the show?
Why is that?
Because I listened to your interview.
Ah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you listen to our interview, nice one, Steve. We're calling it Hooverstone, guys, and this one is out. Check it out. I'm very proud of it. I think that they were just awesome on this here, so we really hope you enjoy that. And that's about it for me.
But number one, so Grandma knows he's coming. Unfortunately, he's bringing Genesis right to Grandma. Stupid move. Rookie mistake. And so
he never gives his grandma enough credit.
That's what I'm saying. She's like, oh, don't trip. He's coming. And guess who's going to be there waiting? I guarantee it's Satan. And that's the reason he didn't use Santa Killers to go get Preacher, because he knew Preacher will come to me. Preacher will come to Grandma. Don't trip. It was a smart move. It was a genius move. And number two, how did Julianne Emery get back to the Grail so quick? I mean, Featherstone.
She made a phone call to the Grail agency and they got a helicopter for her. That's what I'm going with.
Dude, that was fast. She started walking on a dirt road and now she's there.
It's a very small area of land, actually, sir. It's really not that big at all.
Yeah, of course. And number three, how dope would it have been if there was a bomb and everything had happened, and then freaking Tulip is just shaking her eyes and she looks up and it's Featherstone and Hairstar with a crazy wig. Oh my gosh, how dope would that have been?
I just pictured, that's why I laughed hard. I pictured him looking down at her with that stupid mutton.
Wouldn't it be so perfect? Wouldn't it be, and now Featherstone is like, we're even.
Well done, Flufferman.
Gee, and now Hairstar has Tulip, and so he can call Preacher and be like, yeah, not so fast with that you don't have to do anything for me anymore thing. You might just, it would have been great. What are you going to do?
Real quick before we go.
Yes.
Any predictions?
Satan and Grandma are going to be waiting for Jesse.
But you already said that prediction, man. I'm talking about, that is a prediction. By definition, it certainly is. Anything else, though, as far as, let's see. Let me think about this for a second. Does Zacharias die next episode? It's got to, right?
Yes.
Will we see Humperdew again?
No.
We're done. Completely done?
We're done. We might see him tangentially. Like somebody will be at a bar and you'll see a Humperdew behind him.
Will we see Jesse's red eyes one more time?
No.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to either, only because he didn't use them. He didn't get them in the headquarters.
Yes.
And anything else? What are your predictions, guys? Write in. Let's talk about them. We'll talk about, even if we don't put them on the show, talk to us. We want to know this shit. We love talking about it. Hit us up at askthewordpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to hit us up on Twitter, it's @word_podcast. You can reach out to me, Dan at DanQPublic, and Steve at SE_Hudson Music. Hit us up on Heroes of Noise. That's where you can get our shows. That's where you can subscribe. You can do all that shit. You can voicemail. It's all right there for you. I've had a lot of fun this time, Steve. This was a good one. A long one, but a good one.
I loved it. But here, I have a question for the listeners. If you can email or voicemail us, do you think, and try to do it before the next episode so you're not cheating, do you think Grandma makes it out of season 3 alive? Or is she in hell by the end of the next episode?
Are we done with Angelville? Like, will we never come back? Are we done with Jody and TC? Two fantastic actors that I really hope stick around. And of course, Betty Buckley's the shit. So are we done? Let us know.
Oh, Jody, something happened. Oh, here's another. I got a question for you, Dan.
What's up?
Is Jody just stuck in the middle of the road? Like, you could tell TC is very nervous. Oh, Jody's not back yet. Is it just because he hit something and he's on in the middle of the road? Or did something happen to Jody? Something was like, that thing was put there to stop Jody. Do you think something happened to Jody?
No. I mean, like something that harmed him or just something that deterred him? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be the case, but it's very possible. I just think that there was something that was intentionally left there to stop him.
So you think something stopped him purposely, though?
Even though Preacher is really good about coming back to something, and we'll get back to it, I think this was just simply a bump in the road, if you will. He hit something, he's broken down, and she's out. That doesn't sound right, though, when I say it.
It doesn't, because when TC says, I'm worried, because he's been gone a long time, why would he say that? Something, and they didn't even go back to Jody, like him fixing the truck, him doing anything. He just disappeared from the episode.
Man, I'm super curious about this. I really don't know, to be honest with you. They and again, it's quite all right, but they've deviated so far. I have no freaking clue what's going to happen. And in a way, I kind of like that. Actually, I like it a lot. I'm really looking forward to next episode.
Wait a minute, G.
Uh-oh. Steve's got something.
What if Homegirls, what's his name's ex? What was her name that passed away?
Oh, Madam Boyd? Sabina?
What if her guys got Jody?
I just thought of something. We both went, You know what that was?
What?
That was here's my prediction. That was a fucking goat cannon.
Oh, snap.
That's what it was.
All the and then their boys got him.
Yep, that's what it is, dude. Look at how we pulled that one together. I don't even know if that's right, but if it is...
but he said, what the crap is this? And how did it get all the way into my engine? It had to be shot.
And it was just obliterated.
Oh, dude.
And then Featherstone did say, and it was white. It must have been fur, but it was like white fur that was coming down. And she's like, is that a hoof or a...
Oh,
so yes,
dude,
that's it, dude.
Holy cow! You're freaking right. Holy crap. The Boyds have him.
Yeah, man. I think that's it.
And you know what? They might kill him.
It's possible.
He's a strong fella.
Well, no, but I mean, they do owe him that. And there is that are they coming back or not? I kind of feel like they're not going to. And that's, it's just the way it has to be. But
yeah, I mean, he's
got to go somehow.
Boyd. I think Boyd is the only one that's been saying, leave him alone. Now that she's gone, they're like, okay, we're done with you.
Yeah.
You've been a thorn in our butt for I don't know how long.
Right.
But then, and here's the thing, if they catch him, now grandma doesn't have to just worry about Jesse. She's like, wait, who has who? Now I got to worry about that? What the crap's going on with Jody? So now she can't just focus on Jesse. Now, here's the thing. If grandma's like, they have my boy, Jesse could be like, I'll go get him for you right now. If you whatever. If you let me go and you get rid of that napkin,
but
I'll go get Jesse.
That's not what...
What's that?
Sorry. I was going to say, that's not what he would say, though, because he knows that Jody and TC are just simple, assistants to her. I think that she could get other ones if she needed to. So I don't know if that's going to be
I think she loves those two.
She might, but she also
she's in her old age. Who's going to trust her in the area?
Who's going to take care of her?
Who's going to take care of her? Who knows all of her little things that she needs? I think that
doing her toes and stuff.
Yes, all that crap. I guarantee. And then TC's going to be like, Grandma, let him get him. We need Jody back. And she's going to be like, fine, what's the deal? He's like, I'll go get him. If you get rid of that. Because he's not going to be able to use the word to get her to get rid of it. I don't think it's going to be that easy. But he's going to say, look, you need to get rid of that napkin. I'll go right now and have them all release Jody. It's fair.
You know what? Whatever happens next week, it's going to be good. I know.
Oh, it's going to be crazy. Tell us all of your wonderful theories. And also, don't forget, listen to the amazing interview with Hooverstone, who is Queen Julianne Emery and Brother Malcolm. Make sure you listen to that. Look out. He did such a good job. Dan did an amazing job. Check it out. And even give us some responses regarding that. Hit us up. You got the contact information. And on behalf of Steve himself, I'm going to say peace out, but I'm staying on mic, Dan. I'm not leaving.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It makes things so much easier. Guys, did I just blast your ears out?
No, it's your fault.
Oh, sorry, because I accidentally moved my hand. Anyway, guys, thanks for putting up with us this week. I know we were a bit of a handful. This show went really long, so I'm going to have some fun editing this one, I think. It's always a pleasure to meet with you people and talk about this kind of stuff, and we've only got one left. So enjoy the interview, enjoy this show, enjoy your week. My name is Dan Ramirez. We will see you next week. Thank you very much for listening to the Word. You can't hear it, but that sounded dope on my side.